got the energy. Yeah, we got the energy. Energy. Yeah, we got the energy.
Jay Crawford, Adam the Bull, Garrett Bush, Dustin Fox, Jason Lloyd, Tyvis Powell, plus, ba-da-da-da-da, you're loving him, Mikey McNuggets. And so many big names, it would take me hours to say all of their names. The ultimate Cleveland sports show starts now. Booyah!
Welcome, everybody, to the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show, along with Dustin Fox and Mikey McNuggets.
What's up?
A big day today. A lot of Cavs to talk about. They come back, win their 15th straight. Obviously, the latest on what's happening with the Browns. Free agency and the new league year officially starts at 4 p.m. So it may be quiet this morning, but you never know, guys. We've got Earl and Anthony here today. Steve as well on the other side of the glass. And we got a busy day. What's going on, guys?
Not too much. Just talking about how bad I played in tennis today.
Yeah, you're really depressed about this.
Yeah, I kind of am.
It's very serious.
Yeah, I mean
Did you lose or?
I played fine. My buddy he's just getting in my head.
Who won?
My buddy Chris.
He won. You
Yes.
wouldn't even admit that you lost.
Oh no, he kicked my ass. I said.
he kicked your ass.
He did say it
Oh,
was
okay.
My ass,
Yeah.
All right.
No.
So you're really down.
I'm in
about
my feels. I need to go to see a therapist right now.
like tomorrow, you got to play a really bad player to try to get your confidence back up.
I mean, I'm supposed to play him again tomorrow.
Well, you play because you go play a couple hours in the morning.
Yeah.
Is it a round robin? Do you just play one person for 2-3 hours?
It depends.
How
Like
is-
I played this morning. We had 4 guys. We played doubles for like the first hour and a half, and then my one buddy had to leave, and then so that there was 3 of us left. So then we just played like a little round robin singles thing. So,
Yeah.
but yeah,
All right.
yeah.
Well, if nothing
I'll
else,
try to pick up the energy here,
Yeah.
guys.
You know, it's funny. Yesterday on overtime, we were debating a question of how would the UCSS group do it, what sport would be our best sport against other media outlets in town.
Okay.
And we never even talked about tennis. Although I don't know if we have anybody else here that has ever played tennis, but you're good, obviously. I don't know. We were talking about some other sports. We thought maybe baseball we'd do pretty well.
basketball? A chance.
Weightlifting. Who said weightlifting? Which is a good
G.
one.
Bush, and then the chat said that was a sport. So
It
according
is
to
a
the
sport.
chat,
Weightlifting is 100% a sport.
I know it's a
disagree.
sport,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
it's something that I don't know. Would we do well against other media members?
I mean,
Well, no, as a collection, it was what would UCSS, the UCSS
Right.
roster.
So we're a team, and we're
Yeah.
playing like the fan.
the fan, we're playing K&R, we're playing the different TV stations, I guess. I don't know. I think
between-
we'd fare pretty well.
Tyvis is strong. You're
Yeah.
strong.
Oh, Tyvis is strong. I don't know how strong I am anymore.
I lift a little bit. Earl's
Yeah.
I'm not sure if Earl lifts, but he's just
Earl just
strong
looks
as an
strong.
athlete.
No.
Yeah.
I mean, I was saying basketball, you guys, Tyvis, probably a
I could
decent
still-
player.
I could still hoop.
But I don't know if anybody else can play basketball. Can Jay play basketball? He doesn't seem like the basketball type.
Jay's an athlete.
I
though.
certainly can't
Jay's an
play.
athlete.
G. Bush can't play. I mean,
He sets some big screens.
he could. I could go out there and set screens too, but that's about all I can do.
Tyvis would be good at hoops.
Yeah.
Tyvis says he can't shoot whatsoever, but he's a really good defender.
Yeah, but who else is going to shoot?
It's just Mike.
You two.
We'll have him shoot. I'm not really a shoot. I can
So
get
he
to- I
can't
get
shoot.
to
You
the
go to
rack.
the basket.
I can get to
Yeah.
the rack.
Yeah, hopefully you don't
we
pull
fare
any
pretty well in
muscles.
basketball, yeah.
I mean, I don't know. Anthony, you any good at basketball?
Yeah, I can dribble, I can pass, I can defend. I can't shoot for anything.
I mean, I don't know if that's a great. If you're saying I
I
can
can dribble and I can pass.
that to me doesn't sound like you're very good.
Hey, that's all I got to offer. What do you want from me?
You know?
I answered the question honestly.
All right.
You any good at hockey? Oh, well, I can skate.
We know Earl. Yeah, we know Earl can't play. He said he can't play.
If NASCAR's a sport, we got some pretty speedy drivers.
Oh yeah, that's true.
We didn't consider
What's
that
up? What's up with
yesterday.
this Jason Lloyd
Jason
thing?
drives like a maniac.
Okay.
And he-
Steve would like to suggest bowling. Can we all bowl?
Well, first of all, Jonathan Peterlin's really
Yeah,
good
see,
at bowling.
Fedor's
made-
good.
Fedor's no, but he ain't Jonathan Peterlin.
But
good.
they're
I
both.
used to be really good.
no, Jonathan killed him.
Do they count as 92.3 together? Because Chris fills in enough on the radio to. Would that count as a team?
No, I think Fedor represents Cleveland.com.
Okay. Well, I mean, yeah, I was just seeing if we could.
Yeah, no.
Because if you could put those two on the same bowling team, it doesn't matter. who
Yeah,
else you
yeah.
got.
No, I don't know. I think we do decent in baseball. It's the only sport I can play on any level at this point. And you're pretty good at baseball.
Jay?
You played it as a kid. I don't know. Jay, we know Jay can pitch.
I mean, I've got hand-eye coordination. I can return these
Yeah.
100 and some mile an hour serves.
There you go.
Is Tyvis a plus or a minus on our baseball team?
I mean, I don't remember how he played last year. He's fine.
hit a pop fly, and
Yeah.
then didn't hit anything else the rest
Yeah,
of the
he
day.
couldn't hit, but he can play the field and he can run.
He missed a couple field.
Like,
when
can he
went to
just be
first
pinch
base.
runner for me? Like, I'll hit and then he can run for me. We'd be in great shape because we get a hit. Because I'll hit those ground balls in spots
You're just
where
not beating it out.
Tyvus could beat it out. I can't. So I don't know if that'll be a good plan.
Had Dustin joined us when we did the softball game last year?
I don't think I was
No,
on
you,
the team yet.
Well, you'll have to play.
He'll play this year, but
Yeah.
there was a play. Sorry to bring this up, Bull.
Yeah, no, it's fine.
It was
I made a hell of a play. And then I
funniest thing, Bull was playing first base.
Yeah.
And I think Jay hit it right. Was it Jay who hit it at you?
Yes. Bullet.
Jay bullet at Bull.
Yeah.
Bull was 22 inches away from first base. Fell down. and
Well,
cou-
first of all,
and couldn't-
do I get the credit for making a nice play?
Yeah, he stopped it. He stopped it.
I
yeah.
didn't just stop it. I didn't knock it down. I made it. I made the play. A lot of
one
people wouldn't have
play
made that
was
play.
better than anything Jason did at third base.
Well, hold
Yeah,
on.
I made the
whole
play,
day.
but then disaster struck.
As he tried to get, no joke, this far to first base, he fell over on the ground.
I couldn't do it.
Couldn't move.
I
Jay
couldn't
beats it
do
to
it.
first
Oh,
base.
so you stop the ball.
I made the play.
Make the play.
And
What-
then I was
So you made the play,
down
then
on
you
a
didn't
knee,
make the
I
play.
think. I think I got down on a knee to make the play or something. And then I just couldn't
He just
get
fell, couldn't get
I
up,
couldn't
and Jay
do
ran
it.
a first. It was an
I
all-time
think
moment.
Tyvus had to help me up.
All-time moment. He was this far.
Yeah.
This far away
I
from
just
the base.
couldn't get
Someone's
there.
got to have video of that.
Oh
somewhere.
my god! I think that. Do we have a video of that?
Yeah, but the way it was shot,
It
you
was
can't
not-
see that. You can't see the lines, and it was right at the first base line.
Yeah, I was so close.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe
Yeah,
I
that
couldn't
was
get there.
all-time
But
moment.
I was at my modern high weight wise. Like at really, I've lost.
You're
some-
down,
some
but
weight.
now,
Yeah,
so now
good.
the
Yeah,
summer,
you look
you may
good.
be down like,
yeah.
like
I'm
60 pounds or something.
I'm hoping I'll be under 300 by the time we get to the summer. So
Let's go.
I still won't be fast, but I would be able to make that play. If I'm under
Howard's
300.
what did you get to when we were like working
At my
together?
best
like 250?
in the last 15 years, I got down to
245?
249,
Hell yeah.
which unfortunately I'm not close to now. But we'll get there.
And so
Slow and
you're
steady.
I was 365 at the
is
start
that
of
the
the
heaviest
year.
you've been in a long time?
Yes, the heaviest ever was 375, which was like 20 years ago. But I was 365, almost to that weight again in January.
You're
I was
down 330?
And I'm down to 330.
Good for you, man.
334.
Good for you.
You'll be
That's
under
awesome.
300
Yeah.
like quick, dude.
So
That's
here we
awesome.
go. Anyway, all right, lot to get to. Let's get right to it. Cavs win again. Go ahead, Anthony. What do you got for us?
Yeah, before we get into it, guys, March Madness is here, and FanDuel is giving you the chance to get in on the action like never before. Right now, new customers can get $200 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. That's 200 extra bucks to use on everything from buzzer beaters to Cinderella stories and even who's cutting down the nets. I've got my eye on a few underdogs this year, and FanDuel makes it easy to back them with spreads, totals, and game props. So visit FanDuel.com/UCSS and get in on all the college hoop action all tournament long.
So now, granted, I'll say obviously the Cavs are playing a very bad team in the Brooklyn Nets. Cavs were
They play hard, though.
yeah, but they're bad.
Yeah.
They're really bad.
They are.
Cavs was favored by 17, I think, or maybe it went down once Donovan Mitchell was out.
15.
Okay,
That
so
close.
but no Donovan Mitchell, no Hunter,
No Jerome.
no Ty Jerome. First of all, on that real quick, I know Kenny Atkinson said it's very minor with Donovan. Even though it's very minor, it's probably going to be nothing. I'm still a little nervous because it's Donovan, and they ain't winning anything without Donovan. We know that. Anything on a high level, you know what I mean. But it seems like he's fine. Hunter was sick, and Ty Jerome was just getting like a rest day. So even without the three of those guys, but the funny thing is they're getting just destroyed in the first half. They were down double digits, as they've been a lot lately. And there's part of me that was like, well, the Nets stink. The three of their best players are out. It's probably
thought they
just
were-
not their
I
night.
thought they were gonna
right?
lose.
Yeah, you just assumed there was
Yeah.
going to be that they wouldn't even maybe like they would take the foot off the gas, not even. But they just don't. They just don't have that kind of makeup to just not play hard.
In the Portland game a couple weeks ago when they were down
Yeah.
to end the third quarter, Ty Jerome hit a three. And we talked about the momentum swing at the end of the third quarter. It cut
Yeah.
it from, I think it was 12 to 9 at the end. Maybe it was 13 to 10, whatever it was. But you could genuinely feel in the arena the momentum swing
Yeah.
as Ty Jerome walked off the court as the third quarter buzzer sounded back to the bench with, all right, we're right here. And last night, Craig Porter Jr. hit a 60-foot shot to end the third quarter to cut it from 11 to 8. And as soon as that shot went in,
Yeah.
you felt it.
Right.
The Nets were not going to be able to hold off the Cavs'
Right.
comeback.
Yeah.
Had he missed that shot, they still may have come back. But that was another genuine momentum swing you could feel.
Yeah.
And it comes from guys you mentioned, Craig Porter Jr., Ty Jerome. It's not the guys who, Darius was awesome in the fourth quarter. We'll talk about him in a second. Jarrett and Evan played well last night. But these little momentum swings that have saved the Cavs on this win streak have often come from guys who aren't in the top 4, 5, 6 of the rotation. It's the fourth time on this 15-game win streak they've erased a 15-point deficit and won.
Yeah, it's wild.
4 times in 15 games they've done this. It's incredible.
And and Darius and Donovan, for really during this whole stretch, are not shooting well.
No. Darius got hot in the fourth
wild.
quarter, struggled. He was 4 of 14 in the first 3 quarters, 7 of 10 in the fourth quarter.
Right, but still his three-point shot has just been terrible lately. What was he, 3 of 13 from 3?
Something like that, yeah.
The Cavs shot like 60% from 2 yesterday. And who shot well? Nobody shot well from 3 yesterday. I don't think anybody, somebody was.
Strus was 2 for 9.
Yeah, he was terrible. Garland was terrible.
Garland hit 3 threes, though, didn't he?
Yeah, but I think,
3 for
I think, it was
9?
I think
He was 3 and 11.
Yeah,
3 for
11, yeah.
Okay.
Strus was 3 for 10, right? What'd you say?
2 for 9 from 3.
2 for 9. Okoro was terrible. He was 0 for 5 from 3. Mobley was 1 for 3. Mobley kind of kept him in there in the first half. I think he made 8 of his first 9 shots, Mobley. Yeah. And the second half, as you said, fourth quarter especially, Darius and Jarrett Allen played well down the stretch. It certainly wasn't a game you're going to look back and say, man, what an impressive performance by the Cavs. But in the end, they find a way to get it done.
No one's going to remember that they, were down 18 or whatever. It's like, okay, 15 in a row, and we move on. It's like Sarah keeps asking me every night. She goes, "Are they really? They're going to win 70, aren't they?" I'm like, honey, I don't know. They won another one. I'm like, it just, because we're season ticket holders. Our actually next game was the 27th, and I'm like, man, by that point in time, they may be
close.
really be getting close to pushing it.
Yeah,
and offensively in the fourth quarter they turned it on, but defensively during this win streak, last night held Brooklyn to 41 points in the second half. You're going to win a lot of games if you hold teams to under 50 points. They've had 6 different games during this 15-game win streak where the opponent has scored less than 50 points in the second half. In today's day and age of scoring galore, we've never seen higher points per game averages. If you're a gambler, the over-unders have never – you see 230s on an every night basis now.
My God, it's
sometimes
been crazy.
240s. 6 different times on this win streak alone they've held opponents
Why
to
is
under
the
50%.
scoring so high? Is it lack of defense or is it just threes?
More
I think
three-point
there's so
shots.
many three-point shots. Yeah, but it's not like it. There was a stretch of time. I can't remember. It was the late '80s, the early '90s, where there were teams out west that were like the Warriors, the Nuggets, that were scoring crazy points. The Cavs are. It's funny. It seems like no matter what stat you look up, you expect to see the Cavs on some all-time list. And they are. They're I want to say the 12th highest scoring team in the history of the NBA.
The number 1 offensive rating in the history of the league.
Right, but in terms of just points per game.
Yeah.
They're like 12th or 5th, whatever, top 20. And most of the teams in that top 20 are from the past, like from way back in the day. I think the only team recently, the Thunder or the Memphis Grizzlies are also on that list because the Cavs have barely added them. The Pacers last year actually averaged more points than the Cavs are averaging.
Well, they played the old Suns 7 seconds and less, and that's kind of why the points per game was higher. It wasn't even that they played less defense, but they would run, shoot, and they'd shoot in 10 seconds. That was the whole Mike D'Antoni 7 seconds or less motto, and a lot of those teams were getting up and down the court like boom, 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 get shots up at just an incredible rate. And if you're going to take 100 shots in a game, you're going to make enough to score points like that.
I was watching, this is kind of just off beat path a little bit, but I happened to see a clip from, what's his name? What's that guy who works for ESPN?
Amin El-Hassan.
El-Hassan.
Not with them anymore, I don't think.
Oh, or wherever. He does a podcast.
He's with DraftKings, and those guys love it.
Right. Okay. Yeah. So he was on this podcast. He had Channing Frye. I don't know how recent this was, but somewhat recent, probably last week or two. And he said, Amin El-Hassan was like, if your Cavs team that won the championship played this Cavs team, these guys would kick your ass. That's what he said to Channing Frye. And he goes, no way. Channing Frye was like, no, we'd win. He's like, we had two bullies, LeBron and Kyrie, and they have no bullies. Now, the Cavs have been, the one criticism, especially coming into this year, was that the Cavs may be a little soft and don't have that toughness. Do we think Channing Frye's right? Do the Cavs have no bullies? Is Donovan Mitchell not a bully?
I think he can be a bully. He's shown at times, and he's shown in playoff series that he can be a bully. Last year against Orlando, put 50 points up in Game 5. That's a put up or shut up moment. Donovan
Yeah.
has proven that he can come through in those situations. Is it at the LeBron level where you just expect literal greatness every time the man steps on the court in a playoff situation? No, he's had his shortcomings. We saw the Knicks series. LeBron isn't perfect either. We saw the playoff NBA Finals against Dallas. Like, they all have their downfalls, but you look at the games against Boston this year, particularly if you're looking for individual instances in this season of what a bully Donovan can be. The fourth quarter at home when they beat Boston, when he went perfect from the floor and scored 20 points. And then 3 Fridays ago, whatever that Celtics comeback was, where Donovan had 41 points on the road in Boston after trailing by 22. Sure, he has to do it in the playoffs and win at that level to be in the same conversation as LeBron and those guys, but I certainly think Donovan could be a bully in that instance.
You think he's a bully?
You know, like the Cavs haven't really needed to have someone to do that. They've been so good. I mean, like the Warriors had Draymond.
Yep.
But even then, like Draymond was a liability for them too in a lot of
ways,
cases.
Sure,
you know what I mean? So the Cavs, I don't think the Cavs are too nice, even though they seem like nice guys.
Yeah.
But like they're just so strong at everything that they do. They don't really have to. I think they intimidate their opponent by how well they play together.
I think there's truth in that. Yeah, and I think Donovan Mitchell is a bully, kind of how he in the way Channing Frye's describing it. I think Donovan Mitchell does fit that, so I don't agree with him. Now, yes, but you say, well, Donovan Mitchell hasn't gone far in the playoffs, and that's fair. Kyrie had last year he made it to the finals.
He didn't do anything before LeBron got there either.
But before he had never gone anywhere without LeBron until last year. So, he had to prove he could do it without LeBron, and he did. Now, Donovan Mitchell's always been the best player on every team he's been on. So, he's had some disappointments in the playoffs, and if they don't at least get to the Eastern Conference Finals, and at the very least play a hard-fought 7-game series with the Celtics, then, there's going to be some criticism that we'll come up with. But I do believe that Donovan Mitchell is a bully. We don't have two, obviously.
Well, if you go by the stats.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's define what you think he meant by bully.
I think what he means is, I guess, a guy who's got dog in him, right? And can take over and just be that guy. And Evan Mobley might. It's not fair to say he's that yet.
No, he's not. I think in the clutch this season, Darius has been that. And we've talked about Darius's clutch resume all season. Kenny said last night after the game, he is the NBA's most clutch player. He should be in the running to win Clutch Player of the Year, not just in the running, but should be considered the front runner. They don't have odds on that award, which is stupid. It's the only award they don't have odds on. And if you pull up Darius's clutch resume, we've updated this like 4 or 5 times. This is the updated one after last night. He's top 3 in the league in almost anything. He has, by the way, the 10th most points on the 25th most shots. So there are guys who are having way higher volumes in the clutch than Darius who have technically scored more points, but no one's been more efficient. No one's been better in those moments. I don't know if he's a bully yet.
That's different than the playoffs.
I don't know if he's a bully, but I'm just saying he's in those moments where you need a guy to step up and play at his best. Last night, another perfect example, 18 points in the fourth quarter.
Right.
Darius, this season, has come through in those moments.
But doing that against the Nets in a regular season game is
totally
not the
fair.
same.
Yeah.
And there are times where, like, Kyrie Irving and LeBron James are never in a situation where they're getting dominated.
Fact.
And Darius is sometimes. Because, what's that?
He can be put in a disadvantageous situation.
He's not that level. And so he's got to prove more. He's got more to prove. And so does Donovan in the playoffs, but certainly Darius does. I don't think there's any doubt about that. But anyway, I just thought it was an interesting comments. You're always going to believe in terms of Channing Frye's comments, like you're always going to believe your team is better. We talked about this the other. Were you here when we talked about this? I can't remember. I would take the 2016 team over this team.
I asked that question.
Ultimately you would, and because that team has the championship medal, and one team has LeBron. It's just it's unfair.
Yeah, and remember that was LeBron 9 years ago.
Yeah.
Right.
Isn't that crazy? 9 years ago?
Which is insane because he's still doing it at that level.
Yeah. One more thing on Darius real quick.
Yeah.
So they won last night because he was awesome in the fourth quarter and their defense was incredible down the stretch. Like I said, they held Brooklyn to 18 points in the fourth quarter, which in today's day and age, if you hold a team under 20 points, something has gone terribly wrong offensively, and defensively you get a ton of credit. But what Darius did to close that game I thought was pretty special. And it goes back to something Dustin's talked about a lot when he talks about tennis. I know it was a bad tennis morning.
No,
I apologize.
No, I can get back into it.
Before I show you some of the stuff that Darius did, Can you talk about the importance of sequencing in tennis? Because I think we saw something from Darius last night in terms of sequencing that set up the dagger, which eventually won them the game.
When you say sequencing,
shot sequencing. You hit three to
how-
a guy's forehand to set up the
set up
backhand.
the next point. Yeah. I mean, it's in tennis, not that anyone cares that much about it, but
Or even in football, maybe play calling in football, like the
yeah,
importance of sequencing.
Yeah, but I mean, like in football, I mean, you would maybe set something up on first and second down for a bigger third down, or later in the drive to set something up. I mean, like, in like tennis, you're a little bit more patient, and you pick your spots based on what you do prior. Now, in terms of basketball, give me your comparison here, because like I'm fascinated by this now.
Yeah, so Darius, there's a couple different ways of
Yeah.
sequencing in basketball. You could put dribble combinations together
Sure.
to set up, all right, I'm going to go do 2 crossovers, so on the third time, he's
Mm-hmm.
going to expect it, I'm going to go in and out and hit him with the right hand. Darius last night in the fourth quarter had 3 plays that I thought actually set up the game dagger, because they were up 101 to 99, and Darius ends up hitting a little floater over Nick Claxton. And in real time, I didn't think anything of it, but when I went back and watched to cut some of the highlights for the Darius montage, I go, ooh, that was open because of what he did earlier in the quarter. So I found these 3 plays, and we got a new stylist that I want to try. So that was kind of the combination. We wanted to make sure the tech works. But all 3 of these plays come from the fourth quarter last night. The last one, the third play you'll see, is the game sealing bucket to make it 103-99. But this is the first play. Darius is going to end up starting off by getting the steal here. First off, great defense from Darius. When we get to this point, you see where where Deron Sharp is? Sitting
idea.
back. This is frozen already, so great start here. All right, we're good. No, we're back. There he is. Deron Sharp's dropped back. It's about 5 feet off of Darius. If I rewind a little bit, you'll see Cam Thomas, who's right here, came behind Darius to leave him open. That is 4 or 5 feet of space for Darius in transition. Darius, despite the fact he did not shoot well in this game from 3, that's way too much space to leave Darius
Do
Garland.
you think?
Pull up, bucket, and the drop. And you can ask a question in 1 sec, Will,
Yeah.
but when you see it play back to and roll through 3-4 times, just watch where the big ends up getting to, allowing Darius to shoot and giving him the space to shoot, which is going to set up the next move here. Bull, what's your question?
Do you think he backed off because Darius has been struggling, or is it just he was afraid he was going to drive past
I think
him
if he gets up close to him,
Yeah.
he would have easily took him off the dribble.
Exactly.
Okay,
So
that's what I thought.
he was trying to get himself a little bit of room.
Gotcha.
Exactly. So and as a big, you want to protect the rim. He's their biggest guy in the court. You want to get back.
Right.
Cam Thomas did a bad job, I thought, going behind Darius and
Yeah.
leaving that space. But Darius, who missed his last 6 threes before that,
Yeah.
pulled up in transition, makes
Okay.
it. All right, so we got the next clip here. Also starts on defense. Shout out to Darius. Gets a steal off a missed pass. And this is Darius in a 3-on-2 situation. You got Okoro, Allen, and Garland in yellow for the Cavs, and you got 2 defenders back there. Look at that with the stylus. It works very nice. I like this.
That's impressive. I like that.
For the Nets, so you got a 3-on-2 situation here. This is Noah Clowney. Oh, I got to change the buttons here. That's Noah Clowney here. And Noah Clowney's a 6'7" wing, long arms, bigger than Darius, right?
Yeah.
But he's the guy you got to watch here. I'm going to play it and pause. Darius is going to do a little hesitation dribble. Just a minute and a half ago, Darius stopped in transition, pulled up a 3. He's going to do a little hesitation dribble. And you can see just by the slight hesitation, Clowney's feet get planted. He takes 1 step forward, and Darius is going to blow by him for the layup. I'm going to try to pause this right there. That's the crossover. I go back 1 frame, which is impossible on the iPad. You see Darius goes hezzy. Clowney's feet are planted. His top foot's coming up, which leaves a wide open lane for Darius to get past, get to the cup, and finish. Really tough finish, by the way, because he's going over 2 bigger guys.
And so with the pause, he thought he was going to
You'll see
do
the
what he had just done.
You'll see the hesitation here in
Yeah.
full time. It's a slight hesitation. Crossover, go by. It's slight.
And because he
It's
just
slight.
pulled up,
A minute and a half
You
ago,
only need
just
that
pulled
slight.
up. You only need a slight
like a
hesitation.
play action fake.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So now here's a third clip. This is the game sealing bucket. It is 101 to 99, less than a minute to go. Another transition opportunity for Darius, NBA.com. I don't know why they didn't pick up the steal on this play, but what you can't see before I play this is Nick Claxton is back at the bucket, and Jarrett Allen's in the left wing here.
Okay.
Over in this area, but past, you just can't see it on the screen. Nick Claxton is 6'11", athletic, bouncy.
Yeah,
He's the Nets'
yeah.
best rim protector by far. In this quarter already, we've seen Darius pull up from 3. We've seen Darius hesitation dribble, get to the cup. This time, he's going to use Jarrett Allen and Claxton's inability to decide and predict what Darius is going to do against him. So as Darius gets past the defender, You see Claxton, you see Jarrett Allen. This is what you got to watch here. And watch Claxton's back foot. I'm going to try pausing this as quickly as I can. Derek's going to give a little ball fake, just enough to get Claxton to react. Because at this point, Claxton says, we got to get a stop. I can't give up anything. I'm not in a position now to concede any kind of bucket. We're already down 2. If he pulls up here, I have to contest. If he gets to the cup, I have to be ready to block the shot. He's going to give the ever so slight ball fake, which you saw real quick there. And I'm going to rewind it real quick just so I can pause at the right spot. Right there. I missed it again, but you got half a second ago. Look at Nick Claxton's back foot. That ball fake gets Claxton to plant his back foot. Look how close these two are. I mean, that's, what, a foot of separation? But because Darius is going up, as Claxton's back foot is planted,
Claxton can't go straight up.
he's able to finish over the top. He's planted,
giving up a
stuck
foot
in sand,
almost.
giving up, no, literally a foot, 6'1" versus 7 foot. I mean, I guess 11 inches there.
Yeah.
Claxton's athletic, bouncy. Darius pulled up. Okay, you have to be ready for that. Darius is going right by in hesitation. Be ready for that. You give the little ball fake to Allen.
Right.
Claxton doesn't know what to do. He's
Especially
stuck
with
in
a
the
big
sand
guy, because even he may be bouncy, but big guys, it takes them longer to
get off the
jump
ground.
going.
And with Allen
Yeah.
behind you,
Yeah.
you can't leave Allen. That's an easy alley-oop.
Right.
Darius set that play up. That game-winning
nice.
bucket from Darius was a result of the 2 earlier buckets he had in the fourth quarter.
That's a nice job by you, because those are little quick moments that you wouldn't necessarily notice. And it is similar to football in a way where, let's say the quarterback, play action fake, or the quarterback puts it in the running back's belly. You think he's going to pull it out, and then the running back takes it, gets a big run. Well, now the defense is moving up, worried about the running back, and you get the pass off, or the quarterback keeps it. And it's, what you do during the game sets up things later in the game. And those are little things that a lot of people wouldn't even have noticed. So nice job by you, because you don't really notice them unless you're
I didn't notice them real time. I had to go back
pausing and
Yeah.
see. Because some of these fakes by Darius and other players, obviously,
It's
are
funny.
so quick.
Ryan Day explained how on the cruise he explained the play where they hit Jeremiah Smith at the
championship
in the tutty against Notre Dame, and how they had sort of set that up earlier in the game, and they got the look that they wanted perfectly, and obviously it worked out. But I mean, that's a great example. I mean, you do something to set up the big moment, and Garland obviously took advantage of it. I don't even know how much he was even really thinking about it, in those moments, but it hit great instincts.
The last one is more a reaction play.
Yeah.
But I guarantee you the little hesitation dribble to get past Clowney on the right wing, he knew I just hit a 3.
Yeah.
I'm going to show him the ball. He has to react, and I'm going right by him. So,
Absolutely.
And that's part of the reason. He had 18 points in the fourth quarter. He was terrific in the fourth quarter again last night.
All right,
Cavs won
back-
15 in a row.
It's
hard to argue.
It's unreal. And they'll play Memphis on Friday. First time they've had 2 days off, I feel like, in a while.
They flew to Nashville last night. They're spending today. Darius is from Nashville.
Yeah.
So they're spending the day with Darius' family and going to the SEC tournament as a little team bonding before Memphis on Friday.
He's from Nashville and he played at Vanderbilt? Or
Well, he grew up in Indiana, but he lives in Vandy, or he went to Vandy, and now that's like his
that's where
his home compound.
family.
Yeah.
So they're going to hang out at the SEC tournament. So if you turn on the SEC tournament either today or tomorrow, you'll see the entire Cavs contingent down there.
Nice.
for
SEC
them.
is now a basketball conference.
Man,
It's good.
Isn't it crazy that Alabama and Auburn are both in the top 5?
And
Yeah.
Florida.
In Florida, yeah. But I mean, it was funny the other day that the Alabama-Auburn game was number 7 versus number 1, and it's like that's a college football matchup.
Yeah, right.
Not
It was
a
a hell of a
college
game.
basketball.
Hell of a
yeah,
game,
yeah.
too, yeah.
Yes, great game.
All right, let's get to some football here, Anthony. What do you
Yeah,
got?
before we do, if you guys want a little bit more basketball coverage, we do have the Ultimate Cavs, and Jason's back tomorrow morning. Mike, what are you guys talking about tomorrow morning?
We're going to tell you guys tomorrow morning why it is absolutely ridiculous to compare this Cavaliers team to the 2014-2015 Atlanta Hawks that won 60 games. They keep getting compared, and it's no disrespect to the Hawks, but they do not belong in the same conversation as this Cavs team. We'll tell you why tomorrow morning on Cavs and Coffee with me and Jason Lloyd.
Cavs and
Cavs and coffee.
By the way, we love doing nicknames, especially initials. So I think we got to. I've started this trend on my podcast this morning. I want to continue with this now. The Browns today, or yesterday, I guess today it'll become official probably, signed former Buccaneers first-round pick Joe Tyron-Shoyinka. Is how you pronounce it.
JTS?
We got a JTS.
I'm fine.
I
I spelled it wrong first on every graphic we made this morning. So I'm JTS, I'm in.
He was the last pick of the first round by the Bucs in 2001.
No, 2021.
No, 2001. 2021, thank you. He is he's listed as a linebacker. He's like 6'5", 260.
He's a pass rusher.
He is a pass rusher. Last year, a career low in sacks with only 2. His career high was, I believe, the year before with 5. He has 15 for his career. Listen, the stats aren't overly impressive. The PFF grade's not great. The sacks per season are not particularly good. But the guy was a first-round pick, so obviously there's some talent there. Can he reach it? We'll see. Can they develop him? But with all the change at linebacker, you bringing back Devin Bush, who was a nice contributor last year. He developed after injuries and lack of production. He had a good year, and he's also a big special teams guy for the Browns. So they brought back added a linebacker, brought in a pass rushing linebacker, obviously with JTS.
He's more of an edge than a linebacker, right? Like he's going to play opposite of Myles Garrett as opposed to in the 3-4 defense.
Right,
he's more
that's
of an
true.
end.
Well, I mean,
you're banking on some upside here. It's a 1-year deal.
Yeah. I think he's going to be their 3rd or 4th pass rusher.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So,
he's a first-round pick. Like hand up, my bad.
Yeah.
I remember him getting drafted. I can't tell you a single play, and I've watched enough Buccaneers games. I can't tell you a single time I've seen Joe Tyron-Shoyinka make a play.
JTS. Yeah. I have not really seen him play much either. You could have made that name up and put up a random picture and been like, yeah, they signed this guy. I'd be
Is
like,
this a real player or not?
I wouldn't know.
No idea.
I just wouldn't know.
Well, I looked at the stats and tried to get some context for this. He's played at least 500 snaps in each of his 4 seasons. So he's been durable. He's only missed 2 games. He's played 66 out of 68 possible games.
That's
made 45 starts.
The common denominator between JTS and Cornelius, who they signed yesterday.
Durable.
Both durable guys. They don't miss games.
So he's played over 500 snaps in each of the seasons. He's never had more than 5 sacks in a season. All the reports out of Tampa Bay where they think he's a physical freak, but the production doesn't match the physical freak. He has the tools to be a valuable contributor and a valuable pass rusher, especially alongside Myles Garrett, where you're going to get a bunch of one-on-one opportunities, but he hasn't been able to turn those physical traits that look great in a combine into production on the field. If any coach can get something out of him, maybe it's Jim Schwartz, who we've seen turn pass rushers with tools into productive pass rushers. I'm hoping that's what happens here on a 1-year upside deal. But
we would have to find out what how you define as productive pass rushers. I would argue the Browns haven't had any productive pass rushers besides Myles Garrett. I mean,
Alex Wright looked good before he got hurt last year. That was your pick for 10 sacks.
I know.
He was on pace before the injury.
I like Alex Wright. I think there's potential.
Isaiah McGuire tested well.
But, I mean, this guy is a poor man's Ogbo Okoronkwo, I think, So, I mean, the 2 guys they've signed in free agency make sense. Not a lot of money. They're durable players. In this case, it's a young veteran. And there's no downside. They're not paying him a lot. They're paying him, what, $4 million?
4.5, yeah.
You knew the Browns were not going to play in the high end of the pool. He's a guy on the low end of the money pool who has potential upside. So there's really no downside here.
I like this. I mean, the Browns haven't had a first-round pick in 3 years. In the last 2 days, Andrew Berry's acquired 2 former first-round picks. Now, when you say
they're any good,
well, the joke is when you say and lead with former first-round pick.
Yeah.
Tells you kind of all you need to know about some players sometimes.
Yeah.
And I don't think anyone's getting too excited over Kenny Pickett or JTS, but you're trying to add talent at positions that have upside because when those guys hit with the athletic traits that a guy like JTS has, I like JTS, by the way. I'm all in. It flows off the tongue.
Yeah, right.
I'm all in.
Yeah.
We can trademark that tomorrow.
Yeah.
If it works, it's a great signing. And there's no risk. For 1 year, $4.5 million, it's
no risk.
I don't expect
high
big
reward,
impact,
low risk. Absolutely.
And it's probably not likely to have a high reward. He's probably going to be just a serviceable player, and they paid him that way. So that's the most likely scenario. But, again, we knew they weren't going to be involved in the big money free agents. They shouldn't be because of where they are as a franchise, and they don't have the cap space to do it either. So I think it's fine what they did, and I'm fine with them re-signing Devin Bush because he was a perfectly solid contributor for them last year. And, they need linebackers because we don't know what JOK's status is. Andrew Berry said as much.
You keep saying he's a linebacker. I know he's technically a linebacker.
Okay, I hear you. Pass rusher.
Yeah,
sorry.
I don't think he
Fair
fits.
enough.
Devin Bush and him are in
you're
different
right.
categories.
He's a pass rusher. I shouldn't count him as a linebacker. But you do need linebackers as well.
Yes.
Because you got Diabate, you got Bush. And you need – listen, they need a lot up front. They need depth up front, and they've added 2 guys who are both depth pieces up front.
When you look at the defensive end rotation now, and we're speculating, assuming Alex Wright's healthy enough to play next year, which all reports indicate. You have Miles, JTS,
Ogbo,
McGuire, Ogbo, and Alex Wright.
Yeah, that's your 5 outside rushers.
Who do you feel most confident in your opposite of Miles being?
I still like Alex Wright the most. I think he's got the most potential, but again, can he stay on the field? That's a huge question. We've seen that with a lot of Browns defensive linemen in modern times.
I mean, what are we asking these guys to do? I mean, come up with how many sacks?
I thought Alex Wright had an outside shot at double-digit sacks last year. That's a lot to ask.
Oh, yeah.
But a lot of times on these good teams, you'll see more than one guy get double-digit sacks, or at least get like 8.
8 or 9, yeah.
Be in the ballpark of double digits.
I'm just trying to think. How many, like when we had Clowney and
well, Clowney had 10 that one year.
I thought so.
Right? He had 10, I think, one
I
year.
believe.
Yeah.
With JTS then, what's a successful season? If he gets 6, 7, if he breaks his career high in sacks, is that?
Yeah, sure. If
that
that guy ends up with 6, 7 sacks,
I would be thrilled.
He got 16 in 4 years, so,
15.
15. That's less than 4 a year, and he's never had more than 5. So if he gets 7, 8 sacks for a guy you paid minimal money to, that'd be a huge win.
Do you think this bumps Alex Wright inside a little more on third down situations? I know someone Andrew Berry talked about when they drafted him, like his versatility within the defensive line because he plays the 3 technique pretty well.
Yeah.
So maybe that's a way to get a third pass rusher on the field, especially until Mike Hall is healthy enough.
Yeah.
It's not a bad idea.
Mike Hall's coming off injury. Dalvin Tomlinson's cut. They have a couple other veteran players that are gone after last year. I mean, they don't have much at defensive tackle right now. So, if Alex Wright can slide in, which he can, and play inside, that would.
Especially on third downs.
And if you can get any kind of sack production from the interior of your defensive line, that's a massive bonus because a lot of teams don't get anything in that realm from the interior of their defensive line. And
also I think this JTS signing him. I mean, like. You also can be flexible with Myles Garrett. Like, you can move Myles Garrett inside a little bit too.
He had that Euro step dribble against the Bengals. Was that 2 years ago now?
I feel like 2 years ago they were more creative moving Myles around than they were this past year.
In Schwartz's first year.
Yeah.
I feel like just from a whole defensive standpoint, they were really creative in his first year, and last year was.
Well, now they were playing better also, and a big part of that is. The talent is not as good as we thought it was 2 years ago. I don't think it's as bad as it looked this past year. But, we don't, again, JOK is their second or third best player on defense, and we don't know if he's going to play at all. We're always worried about Denzel with the concussions. He's had so many concussions. And this, I think the biggest letdown last year was that outside of Denzel, when he was on the field, the rest of the secondary was a huge disappointment last year. Across the board outside of Denzel.
And Dustin could talk about this. Yeah. When the secondary is not holding up, it changes the entire game for the pass rush.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean, it changes everything you call defensively because if you're not being able to hold up in the back end, like you can't be aggressive.
Right.
You know what I mean? It just puts a bit of a hampering on the defensive coordinator and what he can call. And it's sad to see our defensive backs not play that well because we've invested so much back there, That's
they really
a big
have.
Disappointment.
I mean, Thornhill was terrible. The other corners both disappointed last year. And even Delpit, who seemed to be on the rise heading into last year, he wasn't bad, but he was just okay. And you thought you had maybe 3, 4, maybe even 5 high-level DBs, and you had 1.
We would have entering last season if we had done below average, average, above average, and great. For the Browns secondary, we would have had 4 no-doubters, above average and/or greats.
Right.
Delpit, Ward, Newsome, and Emerson. We all said at least above average.
At least above average, yeah.
And then Thornhill, you could have put into whatever bucket you wanted to put him into. He has that same question now going into next season with the same guys. Obviously, Thornhill's not there. You feel great about Denzel, but I don't know how you're placing the other 3.
Well, even if you, as a group, if you would have asked me about going into last year on the Browns secondary, I would have said great unit. And right now, I'm not even sure I'd say average.
Yeah, I mean, Denzel's a great player, but he's rarely healthy.
Right.
And
who else is, Martin Emerson had we were really high on Martin Emerson, and he was terrible last year. And Greg Newsome's just a guy. Grant Delpit played like just a guy last year. And we don't even know who their other starting safety is going to be at this point. Will they go another veteran, or will they draft somebody, or will they go with
Hickman
But even he, like as a rookie,
was better than last
year.
Yeah.
There was just so many players on their defense that regressed last year. Now, hopefully some of them will go back in the right direction, but I just don't think the Browns at this point have enough. Like this idea that I think some people are holding out hope that we could see that same Browns defense we saw 2 years ago, and even if the Browns get mediocre or worse quarterback play, they can be at least a contender for a playoff spot by winning that way. I just don't think the Browns are talented enough on defense to play as well as they did 2 years ago. I think they should be better than last year, but I just don't think they could play at an elite level. And the Browns just don't, as of now, have anywhere close to enough talent on offense to win consistently if their defense is good but not great. Because they have, in terms of offensive talent compared to, they've got to be one of the worst teams in the AFC right now in terms of offensive talent.
What skill position player do you really feel good about outside of Jerry Jeudy?
I feel good about Jeudy. I'm not totally buying into him being like a one receiver.
I'm not really either.
It's
asking a lot of a guy.
It was like a 6-week stretch where he was great.
He had a nice run last year.
Yeah.
As like a guy who could be a legitimate number two.
Definitely a legitimate number two, yeah. But he played better than that overall. Like his statistics for the season are number one statistics. But I'm not buying him as a consistent number one wide receiver.
No one's going into a game plan against Jerry Jeudy saying, man, we got to double team him. We got to take him away. It's
right.
He's a really good player. I think he's very talented. He's going to make a lot of plays, but is not. Again, he could prove me wrong.
Right.
I hope he does. But I don't get the sense that any defensive coordinator is like up at night, like, how do we stop Jerry Jeudy?
When you think about the best receivers in football, now statistically he was top 10 last year.
He was in the conversation.
But
statistically,
nobody thinks of it like you're not putting him, certainly not with Jamar Chase, certainly not with Jefferson and even Tyreek Hill at his age. But then like even that next group of guys like DK Metcalf, like nobody would take Jerry Jeudy over DK Metcalf. Right? Like so he's good. Obviously David Njoku, solid
I
tight
think you
end.
can make a case Jeudy over Metcalf.
You could make the case.
Make a case.
I think if you asked every NFL team who'd you rather have,
every fan.
most people.
And make that a poll. I'm curious.
Yeah, now we're Browns fans.
I know,
are biased.
but I'm curious. Now these
I
are
don't
Steelers.
think Browns fans would take Jeudy over Metcalf.
I bet you 43% would.
I bet you 65% will take Jeudy.
No, it won't be 65.
I bet
Our fans are really biased.
Well, I know that.
Forgot.
I didn't forget. I'm aware. I just don't think that.
I shouldn't say our fans. All fans are biased for their own players, but our fans are particularly biased.
We'll see.
So you think it's going to be 65% for Jeudy?
Yeah.
I think it'll be 65% for Metcalf.
I think it should be 90% for Metcalf, but it won't be.
The gap's not that big. The gap's not that big between the two.
Well, Metcalf's consistently played at least a lower wide receiver one level.
Metcalf's had
Whereas
multiple
Jerry Jeudy
years.
had never.
And Jeudy had 6 good games.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just.
And I
Maybe
get
it's
it.
not as high on Metcalf
The
as
argument
some
is
others.
Jerry Jeudy hasn't had a good quarterback, but it's not like DK
Metcalf hasn't
Metcalf
had
played with
great-
great.
yeah,
I mean,
no,
Geno Smith's better than what Jerry Jeudy had played with, but he's not great.
I just think Metcalf's more. He does one, and you're gonna say, "What is Jeudy doing?" And you're right. I don't have a great retort to that.
Yeah.
But Metcalf does one thing awesome: the go route. He's as good as it gets at running the go route. A lot of the other stuff, and I don't watch enough Seahawks film to give you like the exact in and outs, but it seems like his route tree is pretty one-dimensional. Go deep, be big as hell, and out physical guys, which he does a really good job. I'm not saying he's a bad player by any means. I feel like
I'm
Judy's
just
a more
saying,
versatile receiver.
I'm pretty sure if you asked every NFL GM, with let's say the money was the same,
when Thor comes on,
who would you rather have? I can't imagine anybody would say Jerry Jeudy.
when Thor comes on in 15 minutes,
Yeah.
that should be the first question we ask him, just as because he's a Vikings
Yeah.
fan, completely outside perspective from either two.
Okay, very good. All right, let's switch it up to quarterbacks now. Zach, we mentioned this a little bit yesterday. Zach Jackson in his column with The Athletic, and then he repeated it with Ken and Lima.
Jeremy Fowler said the same thing on ESPN.
And then
yesterday,
Jeremy
too.
Fowler said it on ESPN, that the expectation is that Kirk Cousins is going to get cut. The Falcons are saying they're not going to cut him. He gets a $10 million roster bonus on Monday. The Monday is the day he would get that roster bonus. So the assumption is if they can't trade him in the next couple of days, that by Sunday, the latest, they will cut him. Now, they claim they're not going to, but I don't know that anybody believes them. Maybe they will prove us wrong. Who knows? And the expectation is that if the Falcons do cut Kirk Cousins, that the Browns seem to be the team he's going to end up on. Now, Charles Davis was on with us yesterday. Dustin, you weren't here.
I saw the clips.
Yeah, and he made an interesting comment where he said if they sign Cousins, he thinks they're less likely to draft a quarterback at 2. Now, I think the Browns are crazy if they allow Kirk Cousins to be a factor into whether I'm fine with signing Cousins. I'm not fine if you're not drafting a quarterback at 2 because you signed Kirk Cousins. If you're not signing a quarterback at 2 because you don't think anybody's worth it, okay. But if you're doing it because of Kirk Cousins, that's insane. I mean, I was looking through his game log last year. He had 3 games last year, 2 against Tampa, 1 against Dallas, where in those 3 games he threw like 12 touchdowns and 1 pick. In his other 10 games, he threw, I think, 3 touchdowns and 17 picks.
In weeks 10 through 15,
Yeah.
so I also looked at the game log.
Yeah.
I remembered the end of last season, him being so bad, and I'm having a really hard time shaking that.
Yeah.
Like, maybe it's the Achilles. He could certainly be better. I'm having a hard time separating what we saw at the end of last season from Kirk Cousins and trying to project how the hell that works in Cleveland when, A, he's not in a dome anymore, B, the weather here is not a dome, and it's windy when he had no zip, no velocity on the ball.
Yeah.
Weeks 10 through 15 last season, the Falcons went 1-4. They were fighting for a playoff spot, by the way. So these are important games. These are not throwing games. Completed 62.7% of his passes, 236 yards per game, significantly lower than his season average. In those final 5 games, he threw 1 touchdown, 9 picks, and was sacked 11 times.
Yeah, his arm's shot, guys. He's
Yeah.
old. He's not the same player he once was. And you said it. They played in a dome. Put him outside in Cleveland with the wind. Like, I don't trust this guy to be able to go out there in November and December and be able to zip the ball through the air.
I got one more stat on that because sometimes I like when the eye test says something, I need a number to back it up to feel good about it. According to Next Gen Stats, reliable, right? If Next Gen puts it out there, we're probably going to trust it.
Yeah.
At his NFL Combine, they test the arm strength, max velocity. Kirk Cousins' max velocity at the Combine was 59.8 miles per hour on a throw. In that Week 12 loss to the Chargers, during that stretch of games we just talked about, he became the first quarterback in the Next Gen Stats era to not throw a pass over 36 miles per hour in a game.
Oh, my God.
So that's like 50% of what his max velocity is with a minimum of 20 attempts.
Yeah.
He did not throw a single ball over 36 miles
Yeah.
per hour, which in context is about 55 to 60% of what his max velocity is.
Yeah.
That was in a dome, inside in a game he threw 2 pick sixes.
Yeah.
I don't know how it translates, and I know Zach says that he's the most likely option. I take Flacco over Kirk Cousins
Here's
any
the
day of
thing.
the week in this situation.
It's irrelevant in the end because
Granted.
whether it's Flacco or Cousins or Minshew, they're not winning anything with any of those guys, in my opinion.
It's fair.
But if they're going to just say, well, he's coming off the Achilles, here's my problem with coming off the Achilles, as someone who has had an Achilles tear. He got worse as the season went along. That doesn't make any sense. If it was the Achilles, he should be getting better as the season gets along. It was his arm. It was an issue with his arm. I don't know if it's just, I don't know what it is.
Now, to be fair, I mean,
Yeah.
there is a correlation between your
Lower
lower
body
body strength and your footwork and your plant foot and the
Right.
ability to create
But
momentum.
why would it be getting worse as the season went along? If anything, his Achilles just gets stronger.
Well, I mean,
in theory.
that is fair. I think that you would hope that it would get better.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't. Overall, dude, I'm out on Kirk Cousins.
I mean,
Give me Flacco like all day, every day.
So
over
you
Cousins.
take Flacco over Cousins too.
100%.
But can Flacco play anymore either? I don't know.
I don't
about
know,
that.
but I know Cousins
Think about
can.
what we're talking about. We're talking about like the lesser of two evils here.
the
It's
bottom
not.
of the
It's
barrel.
not great options for
What
the
about
Browns.
Gardner Minshew?
At least Minshew is young enough that I think he can make it through a season.
I hate to say it because I don't want the drama that he brings, but Aaron Rodgers is probably the best. Now, he wouldn't play here, I can't
He's gonna
imagine.
end up in Pittsburgh. Watch.
But he's the best option of the bad lot. I mean, he was okay last year. He's at this point, forget even the off the field stuff. Or forget the off the field like that stuff.
I watched Rodgers last year. He was fine in moments.
But
Like I thought he still has the ability.
He causes distraction though, and he's 40 years old.
I just hope. Don't you hope that like after last year, if you're Rodgers, and
Yeah.
again, maybe he doesn't care about anything or
yeah.
what people think about him, and maybe that's the case. I don't know.
Yeah.
But the guy has had an awesome career, Hall of Fame career,
think he'd
and
wanna
he's
go- yeah.
whimpering out.
Yeah.
Like
I don't know.
what player who is a competitor, wants to end your
Right.
career like that.
Yeah, no. To me, the only team that makes sense is the Steelers. I don't know why he'd go to the. I don't know why the Giants would want him, and I don't know why he'd want the Giants. That doesn't make any sense to me.
They have to
Same
win.
thing with the Browns. The Steelers are the only good roster that needs a quarterback.
Yeah, I mean, they were a playoff team a year ago,
Yeah.
missing a quarterback.
Right. Now, I don't think Rodgers at this point is good enough for them to win a Super Bowl. I don't think Aaron Rodgers and the Steelers are beating Mahomes and Burrow
dude,
and Allen.
the Jets,
but at least you got a chance.
The Jets' defense was not great last year.
No.
They didn't have a lot. They didn't. I mean,
but they had weapons on offense,
weapons.
though.
Yes.
Yeah.
Steelers have weapons on offense now too.
Well, they do now with Metcalf. Yeah.
yeah. Well, and, I mean, then they've re-signed Najee.
No, they didn't. He's gone.
He's in the Chargers.
He went to the Chargers.
That's right.
Yeah,
Excuse
yeah.
me.
They'll
I thought, who did they re-sign somebody or no?
no running back.
Not
They
yet.
signed what's his name? The longtime Eagle guy, Gainwell. I think they signed
Ken
him.
Gainwell.
Oh yeah.
And they got Jalen Warren, so he's back.
How
but
did I
he-
miss that Najee?
He
I
went
could
to
see
the
them
Chargers.
signing Nick Chubb.
You mentioned it a couple of times.
Yeah. I
They
can
got
see
they
that.
got Fryer still.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like him.
So they got talent there, no doubt.
You mentioned other options outside
Yeah.
of Cousins, and I'm just curious your take on Flacco, because for the people who didn't like Flacco and how it
Yeah.
ended here, it
I-
was the turnover machine, right? It's like, oh, he turned the ball.
Yeah.
Cousins threw 15 picks last year and 17 touchdowns. Like,
Listen, I'm totally fine with them going with Joe Flacco. You know what? I'm with you guys. I think he's better than Kirk Cousins. I don't know that Joe can play anymore. All I know is it was fun watching Browns football when he played.
Yeah.
Even with his flaws, it was way too many turnovers.
Yeah.
And the Browns are not winning 10, 11 games with Joe Flacco. It's just not going to happen. But they're not winning 10, 11 with anybody else. So Joe Flacco at least might give us some fun football for a handful of weeks.
Maybe he comes back on
and
the show,
he's been
too.
here. He likes it here. We like him.
Yeah.
I did a podcast with him. He was awesome. I
Came
love
on
talking to him.
UCSS?
He came on UCSS. He was awesome with us. The guy. I mean,
That's great.
I'd rather have him. Minshew too. He's got a little flair to his game. Kirk Cousins is shot and he's vanilla. He's got no personality. So let's go with Flacco or Minshew. Who else?
And
is there?
the thing with Flacco, the one
Yeah.
thing you could say about him, dude is still, at his age,
Yeah.
probably one of the top 3 deep ball passers in the league.
still has
Yeah,
the
he
arm
still got
talent.
the arm.
Last
And that's
year,
where
yeah.
Judy can really make a difference.
Yeah. And I think unlike earlier in his career, he'd be good with the young quarterback they draft.
I agree.
I think so.
Oh,
at this point,
Aditi
yeah.
told us he was great with Anthony Richardson last year, and I know he had said in the past, "My job isn't
Right,
to."
but that was a long time
But
ago.
yeah, exactly.
That was when he
And-
was in his prime.
And now at this point, coming off of that with Anthony Richardson,
Yeah.
I think we're all in agreement. We assume
Just one point on Richardson. Are they trying to trade him, Indy?
they said yesterday after signing Daniel Jones, it's going to be an open quarterback battle between those.
But then I saw some reports
Yeah.
out there that were some interest. Maybe the Steelers were interested.
I'm sure they would consider trading him. I mean, I don't know what's his trade value right now. I mean,
Third,
who's
fourth
giving up
round pick.
anything?
It's low.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying. I mean, the guy's very, very.
I
Talented.
take a flyer on him.
That was my question. Would you
Yeah.
be interested if you're the Browns?
Yeah.
I guess. I mean, what
Yeah,
are the
I'd rather-
odds he'll put it all together?
Hey, let me give you a
Dude,
scenario.
I met him.
Yeah.
And I did one of his games, and,
Yeah.
and I knew that he was like so just needed time. He was like
Yeah.
it was like talking to a teenage kid, and he was this
Right.
you know
It was-
in college,
yeah.
his 3rd year in college.
Yeah.
We've talked about the scenario the Browns drafted 2 quarterbacks. One at 2, one
Yeah.
in 3rd, 4th, whenever you. I'd rather take a flyer on Anthony Richardson as that
Yes.
second quarterback than
100%.
Well,
Quarter, whoever the
Yeah, but
options
then
are later.
if you draft a quarterback out of Anthony Richardson and Kenny Pickett, who's your starter week 1?
I don't care. You got two
really-
lottery tickets.
But here's who cares
Yeah.
about this year?
Yeah,
Who
fair
cares?
enough.
Who
Two
cares who
lottery
starts
tickets.
week
Good
one?
point. I guess it doesn't matter. You're right.
It's 2 lottery tickets.
6 weeks to the draft, guys. 6 weeks from tomorrow is the NFL draft. It'll be here before you know it. So there you go. All right, we got. He's coming up at 12, right? Our guest,
Yeah.
Thor
Yeah, we got a couple
Nystrom.
minutes.
I like that name.
Hey, what was the results of the poll, Ant?
Oh yeah, give us the results of the poll.
I got them right here. Give me 1 second to pull it up.
yeah,
So after 10 minutes, DK got 55% of the vote, and Jerry Judy got 45% of the
I
vote.
think that's exactly what I said. Didn't I say Judy would
you were
get
the-
45%?
You were the closest. Good for you.
Makes sense. I mean, I thought it'd be flipped. He thought 65%
I thought
for
more
Judy.
Because he knows how our poll voters tend to be very biased.
Listen, I've ran a lot of polls on this show.
Yeah.
I think and you guys surprised me. Good. Shout out to
Well
the chat.
done. Well done.
Kudos to you guys today.
This same polling had Jimmy Haslam as the best owner in Cleveland, which is
That's not true. We redeemed that.
oh, that's true.
We
did
ran
a
it
second
back.
poll,
We ran it back.
and fans changed.
It's
Smart
now Dan Gilbert is the top owner in the city.
Somebody called me. Somebody said on Twitter that Jimmy Haslam is one of the best owners in sports because he spends money.
He does spend
Because
money.
for fans, that's all fans care about really is, are you willing to spend money? And I get it. And Jimmy is. And that's the one positive. That's the only thing he does well is spend money. He spends it poorly. The Browns, in actual money spent last year, second most in the league. And they tied for the worst record.
Well, San Francisco was first, and they also sucked. So
Well, but they sucked because of injury.
I'm just saying.
Well, no, don't say anything. The Niners were just in the Super Bowl.
The two
They've
teams
been
that spent the
cons-
most money are both picking the top 12 this year.
I hear you, Mike, but there's a big difference because where the Niners are as an organization and where the Browns are. There's a pretty
I
significant
don't disagree
gap
with that.
there.
I'm just saying the two teams that spent the most money last year
Yes,
are both.
but the Browns are
disappointed with
consistently
the
spending a
outcome
lot
of
of
the
money and consistently suck. The
There's
Niners
no
are
correlation to winning with the Browns.
right
In spending.
None whatsoever.
I'm not saying there is.
Yeah,
I'm just saying the two teams that spent
you're
the
trying
most.
to put the Niners in with the Browns. Is
No, because the
unfair.
Eagles were in the top 5 and they won a Super Bowl. So
That's right.
There are ways to spend money and it works.
That's right, and they've lost a bunch of guys in free agency, and
They're
I
gonna be
bet you it
fine.
won't even matter. They'll
They're
still
gonna
be
be
really
fine.
good next year.
They draft incredibly well.
They do.
It's frustrating how good they draft.
I mean, that's what you got to do.
Yeah.
That's how you win. You can't win when you suck in the draft every year. You just can't win that way.
They draft Georgia guys every year. Jordan Davis, Nolan Smith, Nakobe Dean, the safety they took last year,
Oh, what's his name?
the big guy, not signed, Kaylee Ringo.
Ringo.
Browns should start drafting all Ohio State guys. Just build the Buckeye pipeline.
They don't even go down to pro day. Why would they draft guys?
They'll end up drafting like the one bad Buckeye in every draft.
Luke Whippler.
The Billy Price. The
Well,
Luke
they did
Whippler.
take DeJuan Jones. DeJuan's been pretty good when healthy.
That's a fascinating thing here is I wonder what the Browns' mindset is on DeJuan Jones. Like, do they look at him as their left tackle for the next few years? I just think there's so much talent, but he's the ultimate boom or bust player because the talent is through the roof. Like, if he ever put it together, like, got in great shape and stayed healthy, he could probably be a Pro Bowl player.
Yeah, he's incredible.
But it's hard to have faith. I think he's had 4 injuries in 2 years, 4 at least somewhat significant, at least 3. And maybe 4 different injuries in 2 years that have cost him games. And I just, it's hard to rely on a guy like that when you know his weight. I hope he's doing well with the weight. I know he
Did you guys get into it on Twitter or something?
we did.
Why?
It got blown out of proportion to what
He
it
saw a
was.
clip of this.
So I was talking about his weight. And usually when we talk about somebody's weight, you're making fun of them.
Yeah, and you're allowed to talk
Right.
about
I'm in the
people's
Fat
weight.
Man Club. I'm allowed to talk about his weight. But I wasn't making fun of him. I was expressing my thoughts on how hard it is when you're heavy, whether you're a 20-year-old football player or a 50-year-old out-of-shape TV radio guy.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard to lose weight when you're chronically overweight. It's a struggle. It's not as easy as it might seem to people who don't have that problem. That's to some degree that's an excuse, but there is something to it. I'm a food addict, and he probably is too. I don't know him for sure to know that, but his weight obviously factors into his injuries. There's no way it can't. And so I was just talking about that, and I was and I was saying
it was the one time too that Bull said, "I know because I'm fat too."
Yeah.
And he says it every time we talk about DeJuan.
Yeah.
And it happened to be literally the one time
that I didn't
out
say.
of the 300 times that we've had that conversation where you didn't say it.
I didn't clarify. I didn't say, "Oh, I understand because I'm fat."
Yeah.
So I didn't say it in this clip, and so
And then he
I
took a
think
shot
he
at
took
you,
it
right?
as a,
Oh,
yeah, which was fine. And I could get grudgy with some
He
people.
didn't even really take a shot at
I
you
have
either,
no
though.
grudge against him at all. I want him to be in shape, and I want him to be a great player. I see the talent there. It's obvious. But I don't know that you can rely on him at this point in his career.
Yeah.
Hopefully he can. Meanwhile, speaking of guys I've gotten into it with, Trevor Bauer, you see him going
I
at
did.
people again?
I did.
Isn't he pitching like in
I
Japan or
think he's in
something?
the
Japan.
Mexican? I thought he was in the Mexican league.
Who?
Trevor Bauer?
Did you see the clip of him that went viral? This is like, I don't know, last maybe month or so, and he was just absolutely throwing rockets and talking mad shit to these guys too on the mound.
I didn't see it. No.
You didn't
In
see it?
Japan?
Wherever he's
Or
playing.
Korea?
I don't even know where he's playing.
I think he's in
It's
Korea.
not in America. I know that
Korea?
much.
Do you know how much of a D-bag you have to be for no team to want you? Like, he could still pitch in the big
Oh,
leagues.
yeah.
And this is not about the criminal stuff because he was essentially vindicated.
It's Japan, by the way.
He's just a knucklehead.
Most of his teammates here hated his guts. Now, Clevenger was his buddy, and I think maybe Savali or one or two other guys. But, like, Francona wanted to kill the guy.
We all wanted to kill him.
Yeah, I mean,
The drone.
yeah. The drone. I mean, if it's not for the drone, the Indians probably win the World Series.
Probably.
Because he was great that year. And then the final straw, of course, when he threw the ball into the stands.
Yeah.
You know, like an idiot. But, like, to be that talented and not be in the big leagues, he wouldn't be elite anymore, but there's no way he wouldn't. He's 100% still talented enough to be pitching in the big
I mean,
leagues.
we're trying to turn an outfielder into a pitcher. That's where we're at. With not that.
I know.
The point
You're
is,
right.
he could still pitch.
Yeah, 100% can still pitch. But every team is like, no thanks. I don't want to put up with this guy. That's, when you put up, because in sports, let's face it, if you can play, teams will put up with almost anything.
And you would
Literally
think that guy would
Yeah.
be like, you know what? Why am I not on a team? Oh, because I'm an asshole.
Yeah, right.
How about don't be an asshole?
Yeah, exactly. He
He
goes.
can't stop it.
I know, it's crazy. It's crazy.
Some people can't help
because
themselves.
There's plenty of.
You're right.
I mean, it's just nuts. Anyway, we have our guest or no?
Not yet. What do you guys want to get into?
Why don't we move on to our next topic?
I was
and
going to
then-
say, we can do
Ed,
Jarrett
do
Allen's.
the FanDuel read first.
I'll do our FanDuel
He's
read.
producing
Easy
from the
peasy.
chair.
Well, we got a FanDuel ticket today. We got winning tickets back
do
in
we?
the queue.
We
Yes.
do have a winning ticket after this read, but March Madness is here, guys, and FanDuel is giving you the chance to get in on the action like never before. Right now, new customers can get $200 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. That's 200 extra bucks to use on everything from buzzer beaters to Cinderella stories and even who's going to cut down the nets. I've got my eye on a few underdogs this year, and FanDuel makes it easier to back them with spreads, totals, and game props. So visit FanDuel.com/UCSS and get in on all the college hoop action all tournament long.
By the way,
We got a
we do
winning
have our
ticket.
ticket.
We told
oh,
you.
I'm sorry. Go ahead. Yeah.
Mike, do you want to read this and I'll pull it
Yeah,
up?
yeah, pull it up. Benjamin Sanders sent this in. If you have a winning FanDuel ticket, make sure you guys send it to us. We're going to start featuring these winning tickets on the show today. But for yesterday's Cavs win over the Nets, our guy Benjamin Sanders hit a giant same-game parlay. He had Max Strus 10-plus points, that hit. Jarrett Allen over 10 points, that hit. Evan Mobley over 20 points, that hit. Max Strus 2 or more made threes, that hit. DG 3 or more made threes, that
Nice.
hit. Allen over 8 rebounds, hit. Mobley over 8 rebounds, hit. Garland over 6 assists, hit. Mobley 1 block, hit. Garland over 20 points, hit. He turned $25 into $489.85. Shout out to Benjamin Sanders
done.
for the big win. It hit on the last 2 free throws from Max Strus. Coming through in the clutch, Max Strus winning Benjamin Sanders some money. If you have winning FanDuel tickets, tweet them at us, email them to us, and we'll start featuring them on the show again.
All right, we got some Browns-related news. A guy's been on the Browns the last couple of years, Mike Ford, who's been an extra
teams
DB,
guy.
special teams guy. He has signed a 2-year, $4 million deal with the Atlanta Falcons. Mike Ford is gone. So the Browns lose some of their depth at secondary and one of their key special teams guys. All right, we'll bring in our guest, Thor Nystrom. I mean,
It's the best writer's name in the world.
Great name.
has to be. Thor,
Oh, look at that setup.
Oh,
my
yeah.
gosh, look at all the helmets.
Do you have every D1 helmet behind you?
I have every FBS helmet behind me and like 7 FCS ones so far. I got the 32 NFL ones over there, but the FCS is the next frontier for me.
I'm approaching 100 FBS. I'm trying to do what you're doing, which
impressive.
is very cool. So I'm jealous of you. Well done.
What do you
Yeah,
got?
when you get the 134th or whatever, maybe 135 this year, there's no better feeling than topping that collection off.
Oh, it's well done. Now the FCS is going to be there's a lot, and there's some really cool ones too, by the way. So I'm sure you know. There's some awesome.
He's
Yes.
he's got North Dakota State on it. I believe that's North Dakota State.
sweatshirt, right?
The Bison.
Oh yeah, Bison.
Yeah.
And I got them up there too. I don't know if that's on camera, but yeah, it's my Gray Zabel hype era. So we're hyping up Gray Zabel.
Love it.
And Thor is your real name. This is not just a nickname, right?
Yeah, real name. Yep.
I love it. I mean, do you ever meet anybody named Thor?
No.
No. But it's a badass name.
It is a badass. I mean, that's got to be a top 5 name.
Can I hand Thor?
Yeah.
Can I be honest? We just met you, but can I be honest with you real quick? I've been following. I read your stuff all the time, and when we made the bio, Steve, you want to take Thor's bio?
Yeah, what do you got?
We make bios for everybody. And I was trying to find a picture, and I was like, this can't be Thor, because I've read your stuff and I've heard you. I had actually never seen your face.
I mean, that looks like a mugshot right
I confirmed, but Thor and that picture, they don't line up, so it's awesome. It's great to see you in the flesh, and it's a hell of a helmet collection.
Yeah, hey, appreciate it. Good to be with you boys.
Yeah. You know, Thor, I want to start with this because we were having this conversation before, because every fan base is, biased to some degree for their own fans. And we were talking about Jerry Jeudy versus DK Metcalf, and I said that every team in football would rather have DK Metcalf than Jerry Jeudy. And Mike said, well, I can make a case for Jerry Jeudy being better than DK Metcalf. I said our fans are biased. We put up a poll, and actually 45% of our fans said they'd rather have Jerry Jeudy than DK Metcalf. Are they crazy or not?
I think I would go with DK there, but I've always liked Jerry Jeudy, but yeah, I think in that head to head, I would go DK.
Yeah.
All right, Thor, we brought you on to talk some NFL draft quarterbacks. You wrote an article on comparing the top draft prospects to some NFL prospects. We talked about that article in length a couple weeks ago when it came out. I'm curious, of the top comparisons you made, you had Sanders and Drew Brees, Cam Ward to Jordan Love, just to name a few. Which one did you like the most as you were putting together these NFL draft prospects to NFL quarterback comps?
Yeah, so for people that don't know, I do a 500 player big board every year with 500 player comps, and so my favorite, and that comes out like a week or two before the draft. My favorite ones are always the ones that are like way down the line. Like I like comping the top guys, of course, but like for instance, Curtis Rourke to Aiden O'Connell, I like that one. Max Brosmer, the Minnesota quarterback, he played about a mile away from me in college. Sugar Shane Buechele, you remember him coming out of SMU?
Yep.
Yeah. So I really like doing the way down there comps at every single position and trying to find like the right fit, but also someone that the audience, that at least a big football fan would know. Right. So it's tough. You rank a guy like 450th overall on your board, but you have to have a totem that people will recognize, even though you're not projecting that guy to have a great career. So it's super fun.
Wasn't Sugar Shane Buechele the quarterback for the Washington Sentinels in the replacements?
That was Shane.
Shane Falco. Footsteps Falco.
That's
from Ohio State.
From Ohio State. That's true. So interesting, though, you mentioned those comparisons. So Shador with Drew Brees and Cam Ward with Jordan Love. Now, based on that makes me think that you think Shador is going to be better than Cam Ward, because obviously Drew Brees is a Hall of Famer, and Jordan Love, we don't know yet, but I wouldn't predict him to be a Hall of Famer at this point. Is that the case? You think Shador's the better player?
I do, yeah. Shadir's my quarterback one. For me, Cam Ward, I have a little bit of a different take on Cam Ward than some other folks. I think you see the high end plays, and I do agree that Cam Ward has a better arm than Shador, and you get more explosive plays with him. But my issue with Cam Ward is those explosive plays come with an elevated turnover rate. And I think people that are like, oh, he'll keep generating more and more explosive plays going forward as he cuts down the turnover rate, to me, that is a logical leap to nowhere. You're not projecting anymore. You're wishing. The explosive plays, watching his film, they are in direct conjunction with the turnovers. It's just the way he plays. If I was we were talking about comps. If you're not holding me to football player comps, my comp for Cam Ward was John Wick. It's like kick in the door and shoot him up. But there's sort of the other end of the sword on that, and you see Cam Ward make some try to make some impossible attempts that sometimes flip the field the other way. The one he does a lot that gets really frustrating is because he hates throwing the ball away. He's not going to give up on the play or whatever. So if he's scrambling and he's running out of time, he will attempt an impossible trick shot as opposed to just, I'll take the 2 yards here, or I'll throw the ball away or whatever, and you would see balls flutter over the middle of the field when he's going across the field and get picked off. I like him, and I like his arm talent, but Shadir, for me, it's not quite the level of peaks that you get with Ward, but you don't get the valleys either. And to me, Shadir, elite accuracy, elite placement, and the thing I don't understand, well, there's a couple of things I don't understand about the narrative around Shadir, but the on-field one, people are like, oh, he holds on to the ball too long. He doesn't have great pocket presence. I totally disagree with that. He played behind Swiss cheese offensive lines the last couple of years at Colorado, and he turned around that 1-11 program to where they were a Big 12 contender last year. He buys time in the pocket. He's athletic. He just doesn't run. He just doesn't, breach the line of scrimmage. That's why people don't realize it. He's very good at making people miss in the pocket and buying extra time. And he can get the ball he can put the ball wherever he wants to.
Well, if they draft Cam Ward, we'll make sure to kill his dog before week 1 so that he plays well.
Yeah.
But that's a John Wick reference for the folks out there.
fair
Don't
enough.
know.
Yeah.
No, but
I was with you. I was with
Good.
you.
That was
Yeah.
good. Took me a
So I'm so torn here. If both players are on the board at 2, this is like more. I know you would take you would take Sanders, but is there a better fit with the Browns between those two players? Like in terms of you mentioned Shador and his ability to maybe he fits more in an NFL pro style system, takes care of the football a little bit better. Like, is there a Stefanski fit between those two guys?
Yeah, like the traditional way of, you think about whenever we talk about that division, you talk about Cleveland, there's always that thing of like, oh, the arm strength, cut through the wind, and that sort of a thing. Right. So like from the traditional aspect, you would probably say Cam Ward, but from the Stefanski perspective, I think it would be more Shadir. Stefanski likes the accuracy, the timing of the concepts, and the taking care of the ball. And Shadir's obviously really, really good at those. I think there's another possible outcome out there that I don't know how much has been discussed. I don't want to phrase this as breaking news, but I did talk with an NFL source about this that suggested an idea to me that I hadn't considered as potentially as reasonable as he was suggesting, which is the Cleveland Browns could come out of this draft with both Travis Hunter and Shadir Sanders. That requires Shadir falling, right? It would require, first of all, that Travis Hunter is available in the 2 slot, and then you pop him there, but then Shadir falls middle of the first round into the low 20s, and then trading up. Cleveland has a lot of ammo, as you guys know, after round 1. You could easily package those picks in order to move up if he begins to fall. So one thing to maybe keep in mind.
When you look at your own ranking store, and as someone who's a 500-person big board, I know you put the work in. So in your rankings, is the gap between Shador and Cam closer than Cam to whoever number 3 is on your big board? Like how does the scale work between those 3?
Yeah, way closer. Like on my big board, I'll have them. They might be right next to each other. There might be 1 or 2 guys in between, but very close. In terms of that, it's more flavor, right? I want the what you're going to get every single time. Trust the accuracy, trust the placement, that sort of thing, as opposed to the roller coaster where you get the awesome thrilling highs, but then you have to put up with some of the field flipping lows. But yeah, close. And then for me, Jackson Dart. Talking for on my board, he's going to be like an early top half of the second round type guy. So a pretty big gulf.
Jackson Dart is an interesting prospect. I really like his game. I know he's battled through some injuries this season as well. Do you see him sliding in the first round? Do you think a team could trade up for a guy like Jackson Dart?
I think it's possible that he goes at the end of the first, with the team trading up. It's going to be somewhere late first, early second in there. And he's a really tough eval, because you look at the frame, you look at the arm talent, the athleticism, the pedigree, and then the stats. All that stuff suggests surefire first-round pick. You look at the Bill Parcells quarterback criteria, he has 7 criteria. Jackson Dart checks every one of those boxes. So that's where it's like, okay, we like that of the eval. the thing we don't like is he comes out of the Mickey Mouse Lane Kiffin offense, and watching his film this past season, it was almost primarily to the first read. First read. When Trey Harris was on the field, they were just pounding him. Dart was pounding him with targets. There was numerous instances on his tape where there was a more advantageous look, but he had locked on to the first read. And then, to his credit, he would complete some trick shot throws. You would see him throw sometimes into triple coverage and come out clean. His arm is that good, and the timing and everything like that, the placement. But again, we just don't know if he can stand back there with the bullets flying and read an NFL defense in the moment post snap. We know he can do it pre-snap. We know he can get the ball to the first read in the SEC. Some of these NFL things, that's where we just don't know. So it's sort of a black box with his evaluation, and that's why I can't put him in the top half of the first.
Thor, quarterback question, but not rookie quarterback question. I know you're a Vikings fan, so you're not too far removed from the Kirk Cousins experiment. I'm not sure how much you watched specifically of Kirk in Atlanta last season, but all the reports indicate or seem to be pointing to the fact that he'll be released by Monday and could come to Cleveland as their bridge quarterback option. We discussed before you came on the potential of Kirk Cousins versus Joe Flacco, and we all picked Flacco if we had to pick one or the other. I think Cousins' arm is completely shot at this point. Are we wrong? Do you still believe Kirk Cousins has high, maybe not high end, but at least salvageable play left at the quarterback position?
I do. I would choose Cousins in that scenario. Cousins, I was told that he was more hurt last year than was let on, that he played a decent chunk of that season with injuries that he picked up. You know, he was obviously coming off the surgery, and that's what was talked about, but other injuries. And so not playing at 100%. I think that's a part of it. He was having issues, as you guys saw last season, driving when he was throwing. I've been told that is corrected now, that he is now healthy, and he's going to be healthy for next year. Obviously, you're up there, elevated age. You have suffered injuries, so the durability thing, it is a thing, but he is going to be way healthier heading into this season than he was certainly during last regular season.
How you feeling about J.J. McCarthy right now?
I can't wait. That's a guy that I loved in last year's draft. I had him third overall on my big board. I think he's going to be a star. And obviously, Kevin O'Connell, one of the top QB gurus that we have in the NFL, he's calling his shot on J.J. McCarthy. He's talked to the media about every year in Egan down, where the Vikings do their training camp and have their offices, that he was known as the quarterback killer there. Because in every single draft, O'Connell will be like, nope. He was always, he had to, no, it's not that guy. And then you get to McCarthy and he's like, that's the dude. I think it's really cool the way they built the roster around him the last 2 days. The Vikings finally, for the first time, and I don't know how long, had cap room. And Kwesi was out and firing from the hip the last couple of days. So it's cool to see the roster get built up as well.
All right, from a Blue Belly and a Wolverine to a Buckeye and Will Howard. Thoughts on our Buckeye entering the draft? A lot of people are killing him after the combine viral videos people are putting out there. We watched him have one of the most amazing runs ever in college football history to beat those four teams, back to back. Thoughts on his pro prospects?
Yeah, I don't put as much stock into the combine throwing session. I don't care. Like, to me, your throwing session, it is your tape of your final season at college. I see you having to throw with the bullets flying, running a concept, and in different conditions, right? Or throwing under all these different. I don't care, you in shorts and in Indianapolis or whatever. So I sort of toss that out. I was lower on Howard prior to the CFP run, and you set that up well. He really opened some eyes during that college football playoff run towards the end of the regular season and then leading into it. But those 4 games were really, really good for Howard. You obviously have the physical package there, 6'4", 243. He has the requisite arm talent, and he's a little bit he has athleticism to a degree as well, where you can use him around the goal line. We saw that more at Kansas State, but it's certainly a usable thing for the NFL, like a Blake Bell bulldozer kind of a thing. And like I said, I like the arm enough. My thing with him, the mechanics need to get worked on. And it's sort of scary for a prospect who's on the older side when you're thinking about as a developmental guy. But I do think there's things to work on. And and I think he was getting better at it as this he was working on these things, with Chip Kelly and those guys at the staff at Ohio State, in improving some of those mechanical things. And one of the primary ones was the lower half could get wonky and become unmarried from the top half when he would go downfield at times in college, and you would see the downfield accuracy wavering. That was something that appeared to get tightened up a bit, specifically during that college football run. You were seeing those spirals come out to the downfield receivers. I have some questions with him going across the progression line, when the first option is taken away. That would be my other question with him. But I do like the tools, and I love what I saw from him in the college football playoff. I have him as the quarterback 7 in the class right now.
Thor, we'll get you out of here on this one, but the Browns haven't had a first-round pick since we started this show. This is the first year they've had a first-round pick. It's number 2, so we've been all completely engulfed in that pick. But give us a name, maybe a day 2, a day 3 guy that you really like, that if somehow the Browns end up putting in the draft card and has his name on, Browns fans should get excited about. I guess the question is, who's your favorite kind of under-the-radar prospect that we should be thinking of come draft time?
What position would you guys prefer? As far as isolate it for me. What position? Like, are we talking running back, receiver, tackle, edge?
Yeah, let's go running back, because Browns need a good young running back.
You got all kinds of options there on day 2. Day 2 is the sweet spot, because in this draft you're going to see a procession of them on Friday night, but most of them that go, they might, if nothing else, could be a 1B in a rotation in the NFL right away, if not more than that. But a couple guys for the Browns to consider. This is a guy I want to fall to the Vikings at the end of the 3rd, but Devin Neal from Kansas, a 220-pound back with tremendous feet. And he is a better receiver than he was given credit for in college. They just use him as a dump-off guy, but he can beat people on routes downfield, as he showed in Mobile at the Senior Bowl, because of those feet. Yeah, it's just really difficult to stay with him, and again, the size there. And a couple other names, DJ Giddens from Kansas State, the rival of Devin Neal in college, but just an hour down the road in Manhattan. NFL Combine, 6 foot 212, 9.78 RAS. 98th percentile size adjusted athlete at a really good size. And I like the way that guy runs. He's really fluid. I comp him to Zach Charbonnet from a couple classes ago. That'd be someone else I toss out. Just 2 other names for you guys. RJ Harvey is a home run hitter from UCF that is in a bowling ball frame. He can run inside as well as hit the dingers outside the tackles. He's a good receiver as well. So I toss out him. And then last one, you got to toss out Cam Scatterbo as well. Cam Scatterbo is going to go on day 2. Yeah, I almost assuredly is going to go in round 3. He has the limitations with the high-end speed for sure, but I just mentioned bowling ball. You don't get more all-time bowling ball frame than Cam Scatterbo, where he's 5'9" and 225 pounds. And you guys know he's got that berserker game, but he also has the acceleration and he's got the agility with it. He's not going to hit any dingers at the next level, but he's going to hit a whole lot of singles, and he's going to get some doubles as well. He's an efficiency player. And that's what you're going to get from him as a runner. You also get it from him as a receiver, because, as we know, he can handle heavy usage.
Man, Cleveland would love that dude.
Oh, yeah.
Well,
He'd be like a better Peyton Hillis.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Exactly.
I could see him in Cleveland now. I could totally see it.
He is definitely a Browns-type player. Thank you, Thor. We appreciate it, man.
Thanks, man.
Appreciate it.
Thanks for having me on, boys. Appreciate you.
All right. Thor Nystrom, good to chat with him. One thing he said there that I just wanted to follow up on in the middle of that was that some NFL guy gave him, said that he thinks there's a possibility the Browns could draft Travis Hunter and then trade up for Shador.
That was in the mock draft we did a couple weeks ago. Well, a couple days ago, I told you that.
The only thing about that is, if you're thinking about taking Shador Sanders in the first round, then just take him at 2. I don't like taking that chance. If you're comfortable taking him at 15 or 18, then you should be comfortable taking him at 2. What is it? It's the first round. He's either worth a first-round pick or he's not. I don't know. That's how I see it.
I'm with you on that. I don't know how you would look at a quarterback and be like, yeah, we like him at 15, but not at 2. It's like, I just get that. Maybe there's a mindset behind it, a philosophy that you and I just don't know.
Yeah.
But I know this much. Whatever's been the Browns have been doing hasn't been working.
No.
So I'd sort of go with
And if they
Our
get
philosophy.
listen, if they somehow got Shador Sanders,
That'd be amazing.
and Hunter, yeah, we'd all be thrilled.
That's
but-
the dream. Like that has to be the dream scenario, right?
When you see a quarterback play with a college player,
Yeah.
a receiver, or
Yeah.
whatever, a college teammate.
Jamar Chase, Joe Burrow.
Yes, that's the best example. They
Well, there's a few. Tua and
and the kid
Jalen Waddle.
Jalen Waddle.
Jalen Waddle.
yeah.
There's another one, isn't there?
There is another one I can't think of right now, but
Stroud.
The Eagles. No. Yeah, Jalen Hurts and
yes,
Devonta Smith.
and Devonta
Devontae
Smith.
Smith played
Yeah.
together in college. Yeah, so that would be.
could we do it
I'm
here?
sure they'd enjoy it.
Oh, they would love it.
We would definitely be seeing Dion in Cleveland quite a bit.
That would be fun.
Maybe
Yeah,
we could
I think-
just get Dion to coach the Browns.
That might be the most fun scenario. Would it be the best outcome for the team long term? Who knows? Would it be the most fun? I think so.
Here's the thing about that. Like, I don't think that it would be a facade of us getting excited like we did for like a Manziel or
No.
or like a Tebow.
Yeah.
It's like it's not a novelty. Those guys are awesome players.
Yeah.
Both of them are, I think, going to be
Yeah.
really good pros. Where it would, I think it would work out. It would have a chance to work out.
The question with Shador Sanders seems to be is, does he have this upside? Like, I think a lot of people feel like he's going to be a solid NFL player, but does he have the upside that you want from the first-round pick? Can he be that top 10 quarterback, or is he just going to be kind of a middle-of-the-road quarterback where you're always kind of wanting more? Like, he's good, you'll win games with him, but can he win a Super Bowl? Like, that seems to be what the concern is with him. Whether that ends up being the case or not, who knows? But it does seem like he's got a decent floor, if nothing else.
Yeah.
I don't know if you want to
That's
draft
the first
a guy.
time I've had it. We've done an interview with with somebody who knows their stuff.
Yeah.
And has had Shador ranked higher.
Thor was good.
He was
was
awesome.
He's very good.
Awesome.
Yeah, I mean he gave you his argument for why, and based on his argument, if he's right, then yes,
It's a well-researched take. I
Yeah.
mean, it's not. He's not just trying to be a hot take artist. Like he
No,
had,
not at
he
all.
had good stuff to back it up. I liked it.
G. Bush yesterday was like, nobody has big boards. Nobody really has a big board. And this
That guy's a big board.
he's got a 500-person big board.
In
I mean,
fairness,
the fact that he's doing comps and can do
Yeah.
Shane Buechele as a
Yeah,
comp
yeah,
to
yeah.
somebody. I mean, this guy knows his shit.
his Riley Leonard comp.
Yeah.
You want to take a guess what it was real quick?
Riley Leonard comp.
Yeah. It made me laugh. It's
Daniel Jones.
Righty Tim Tebow.
Oh, really?
That was his.
yeah, G. Bush is more talking about fans.
No,
when
no,
fans say
I'm just saying.
but
It's funny that
yeah.
yesterday he literally said,
Yeah.
nobody really has a big board. And
Yeah.
we had a guy in today that
Yeah,
literally puts out a
There's like 10
500-person
people that
big
actually
board.
have
Yeah.
a legitimate big board.
No,
Probably.
he was good. We should get him back on before the
Good
draft
stuff.
day board.
All right, Anthony, what do you got?
Yeah, guys, before we get back into basketball, I just want to remind everybody that if you're looking to get a little bit more extra UCSS, memberships are a great way to do it. $1.99 gets you our loyalty badges, our custom emojis, and the community post that Earl posts every single morning. And then the members tier, you get overtime, which we kind of teased yesterday's at the beginning of the show today. You get all the starter tier perks, and overtime is just all the fun. Like, we just goof around in there, and it's a good
Yeah.
time.
By the way, the Ravens lost another player, Michael Pierce, their nose tackle, retired.
Big guy, right? He had
Yeah,
the
he's a
interception.
good player.
last year. Yeah.
He just announced his retirement today. So the Ravens have already lost a few guys in free agency. Browns got, what did they get, 2? Or
Comp picks.
Comp picks
2 extra 6.
also.
They have 4 6-round picks now.
Right, yeah, so there you go, a bunch of 6th-round picks. All right, let's switch gears, talk some basketball. So Jarrett Allen after the game, interesting comment. He's been dealing with this hand issue, and he said after the game that the hand is bothering him.
We got the soundbite.
Go ahead, let's play that soundbite.
I didn't feel like I had to score the ball, and we have plenty of scorers that can outscore me any single night, so I trust them to go out and do that. But it's kind of tough having the right hand hurt. It's tough to power dribble and stuff like that. I am confident in my left that it has a close enough ability to match the right, but it's still a detriment.
The Cavs have given you every reason to give them complete benefit of the doubt, but it seems odd that he's playing if he's dealing with an injured hand.
He has said on multiple occasions, I want to play all 82
I
regular season
understand that,
games.
but
And I
that
think
can't be
it's
more important than
I'm with
his health for
you.
the
No,
playoffs.
I'm with you. You can look at my notes.
Yeah.
Jarrett Allen, by the way, I told you guys when Brad was on,
Yeah.
something was up with his hand. You could
Right.
just tell he was shooting lefty push shots.
Yeah.
And he used to grab every rebound with 2 hands.
Yeah.
And he had great hands. And now there's a couple of bobbles. He's tipping a few rebounds out. That's how Max Strus had a bunch of rebounds yesterday, where Jarrett would kind of tip it out to him. He can be effective. He had a great game last night. The
But it
day
makes-
after Brad was on, he
Yeah.
had that monster game where he didn't make
Right.
10 of 11, whatever.
Yeah, and he had a monster game yesterday.
Yeah, and he's been really good, but you can tell he's not as comfortable using his right hand in certain situations where he typically would. And I understand that he wants to play 82 regular season games. But the Cavs this season have put all the individual wants and needs
that shouldn't
on the
matter.
back burner for the betterment of the team. And for the Cavs to win a championship, they need Jarrett Allen to be 100% healthy, or as close to 100% as he can get. And if that means taking a week off to rest and recover the hand and to heal whatever it is, the tendon in his thumb, whatever it is that's bugging him, Jarrett, 82 games is awesome. But an NBA championship is a lot better. And trust me, in the long run, no one's going to remember outside of you if you played 82 regular season games or not if the Cavs win a championship. They'll remember you as part of a championship team, not as a regular season Iron Man.
I didn't like any of his comments right there. That scares the hell out of me. You know, the hand is obviously vital for his game.
Yeah.
And to your point, we need that dude tremendously here in April, May, and June. And I don't really care about 70 wins. I care about
Health.
I care about Allen being healthy. I'm worried, a little bit worried about Mitchell. I mean, sat out
I
last
do
night.
not.
So, yeah, the only thing that can derail this season, I don't even want to say it.
Yeah.
We know what it is.
Yeah, that's it. You guys got to ask Kenny Atkinson about this. I'm going to have to rip the Cavs media right now. Where is Cavs media?
I wasn't in media yesterday.
Well, you're part of Cavs media.
I wasn't there yesterday. I was there, but I was as a fan.
How have we not asked? I mean, where was Fedor? Where
someone's-
was Jason Lloyd? Like, where
Someone's
are these guys?
asked. Kenny was asked.
Yeah.
Before, what was the last home game before this? 2 years ago? He asked if he thought Jarrett's hand was bothering him, and he said, Jarrett's a warrior.
Yeah.
He hasn't told me anything about his hand bothering him. You know, he takes
Okay, well,
it.
now he said it.
Well, so now I'm curious. Now
Yeah.
they're on the road for 6 straight games.
Yeah.
And they're not back home until the end of March, so we'll see what happens. I'm not sure who's traveling besides Fedor.
Yeah.
But I would like to hear from Kenny on.
This is crazy.
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense for him to be playing with an injured hand.
Yeah.
Him wanting to play 82 games, while admirable, nobody cares. Who cares?
Do you remember which Cav played 82 games last regular season?
No idea.
Do you?
Don't care.
Which last season?
One Cav played all 82 regular season games last season.
I do not know.
It was George Niang.
Yeah, who cares?
It doesn't matter.
Doesn't
That's my point. You guys don't remember
Again,
when it was last
I
season.
respect the fact that he wants to do it because in this day and age, we're constantly complaining about maintenance days and stuff. All due respect, I love that he wants to play every game. Love it. But he can't do it to the potential detriment of the team when it matters the most.
And I know he hasn't been in the closing lineups lately
Yeah.
with the Hunter and Mobley combo.
Right.
But he's still been crucial to them winning games.
course.
And in certain matchups, they're going to want to close with 2 bigs.
Yeah.
And Jarrett Allen's going to have to play like he did last night for the Cavs to win a championship. He can't be some shell of the Jarrett Allen that was playing at an all-star level for the majority of this season if Cleveland is going to win at the highest levels, if they're going to beat the OKCs, if they're going to beat the Bostons. Like, they need Jarrett Allen badly. And if his hand is not 85 to 90, and we don't know the exact issue with it, and I'm not sure.
We need him for 16 wins.
Exactly, in the playoffs. This is...
Unless the argument is rest is not going to help.
And that's what I'm saying. I don't know what the actual injury is.
Which I don't know how that could be, but
Yeah,
I mean, if they say, well, he would need 6 months for it to fully heal, then okay, I guess. But
and we don't know. We simply don't know
I can't imagine that just doesn't make any sense.
What did they say is wrong with it? It's just
He heard it on a
strain?
dunk. He heard it on a dunk against the Knicks. And we have, to my knowledge, we haven't got the exact
Yeah.
Is
diagnosis
it a
on.
tendon issue?
Right.
Like, do we know what it is?
No.
I thought I heard a tendon. I'm not 100% sure on that.
Because
So,
I'm going to go
yeah.
ask Dr. Zanotti about it.
Yeah, exactly. So if it's a tendon, if it's like soreness,
I'm not 100% sure.
Whatever
I
it
believe
is.
that's what it was, but
you got to imagine that rest would help.
yeah.
I don't see how it can't.
Have you ever had a tendon injury? Not necessarily thumb, but in general?
Oh, yeah.
Does rest help tendons? Am I being
Yes.
stupid? Okay.
Yes. Yeah. Soft tissue.
Yeah, there's not many injuries that rest doesn't help.
I just was making sure. I'm not a doctor.
So, well, neither are we, but, you've been around enough, I mean, again, I don't want to kill him for it. And,
It's admirable that he wants to play 82
Yes,
games.
but I would like to hear from Kenny Atkinson at this point. Like, I get it, he's a warrior. We don't need him to be a warrior. We need him to be a warrior in the playoffs.
So he's played every game.
Not meaningless games against the Nets.
He's played every game this season. I'm curious that now he said that publicly because it's
Yeah.
the first time he's addressed it publicly. I told you after the game, he kind of just dips out sometimes and doesn't necessarily sticks around to talk to the media and hang out in the locker room.
He had a good game yesterday, so.
But he's had a good game. He had the great game against Chicago and didn't talk afterwards either.
Okay.
So I guess no, he did talk, but he talked to Fedor because he talked about
I thought
the
you had
slow
said that
starts.
he only talks when he has a good game.
No.
Okay.
But he was on the road, but he has talked.
Yeah, okay.
But now that he said that, it's the first time that, to my knowledge, he's actually addressed it publicly.
Yeah.
Well, can he just give him Friday off? All right, Jared. Now that you've said, and now that you've made this a thing, sit. Like, you got to sit.
Give him almost the rest of the regular season. I mean, bring them back with a week to go.
They got
the
Memphis
playoffs
Friday.
are right around the corner.
Yeah, they have Memphis Friday, Orlando Sunday, then they're back on the road for a 5-game road trip.
Okay.
Right? Isn't that how it goes? The 16th
know.
is Sunday? Yeah, 16th
16th
Sunday.
Sunday.
So they're back home. They have the nationally televised 1 p.m. game on Sunday.
That's a home game.
Home game against Orlando. Then they're back on the
All
road.
right, so Sunday, are you going to be there?
Yeah, I should be there Sunday.
So
yeah.
you got to ask
him.
Kenny
Yeah.
Atkinson about this.
Yeah.
And if his answer is, well, he's a warrior, you got to follow up, or somebody's got to follow up with, okay, that's great, we love him, we respect it, but is it hurting the team if he's not 100% in the regular season because he's trying to play 82 games now?
If we don't have clarity, I'll ask Sunday. That's easy
all
enough.
right. There you go. So, well, we wish Jarrett Allen the best, want him to get healthy. Hunter's sick, I get it, but we need all hands on deck and healthy when the
Hunter
playoffs
was
start.
not there yesterday. He was sick. One thing we didn't mention this earlier. I should have mentioned it.
Yeah.
Donovan's the most engaged superstar I've ever seen on the bench. He stood
Oh, that
up.
was cool. And he's wearing a Cavs shirt.
He's wearing a Cavs
Or a hockey shirt
It
or
was a
something,
monster
yeah. Right.
sweater, but Cavs colors. I swear to you guys, every single bucket he was up cheering his dudes on. When they were shooting free throws on the other end of the court, I took a little video.
Yeah.
The game's going on, by the way. They're shooting free throws.
Yeah.
And he's out there talking to Darius
Love it.
and coaching guys up.
He's not just there to look good in a fancy suit.
It was awesome. And just one of those things that from where we normally sit, my dad was in town. His work got good seats, so we had really good
You're
seats
just showing
yesterday.
off that you got good seats.
No,
basically.
because it was cool. It was a cool video of him coaching Darius on the side.
No, it is cool.
It was just he doesn't have to do that. You know what I'm saying? Like he doesn't have to be that kind of teammate, that kind of guy. And to see the leadership in live action like that was just really cool.
No,
to see.
he's a guy that's engaged and cares. Like there are some players, no names please, that would try to do some of that stuff just so people would notice it.
Yeah,
I mean,
oh yeah.
It's not him at all. I mean, that's how that guy is at all times. I love everything about Mitchell, and like we've talked about this a ton on this show. Is he not the most selfless superstar you've ever seen?
Yeah, I mean he's right up
He's
there.
up there.
I mean, in the NBA.
Yeah, as selfless as a player you're going to find, as good as he is. He is all
And
about
honestly,
the team.
I want to give him credit, but I have to give like the coach credit and the players credit because it's easier to be more selfless. Is that the way to put it? Yeah. More selfless if you are winning.
Yeah.
Right. And the team is having a lot of success, so it's probably a little bit easier for him to kind of fall in line. But man, now that they've won, I think he understands. He'll do whatever it takes, man. I love it. I love everything about that guy.
Well, and as we talked about this, I think, earlier in the week. I mean, Donovan Mitchell and Kenny Atkinson have great chemistry with each other. Yes. And when your superstar and your coach are on the same page like that, it leads to good things. And that wasn't the case with JB. And JB has obviously gone on to Detroit, and maybe he and Kate Cunningham there have a great relationship. And he's doing a magnificent job there. And he did a solid job here. But he and Donovan were not like this.
Nope.
Kenny Atkinson and Donovan Mitchell are like this. And
right.
It helped that they won all these games right away to start the season. That probably helped build the trust between them. But they've got it. They fully trust each other. And when the head coach and the best player on the team fully trust each other in the NBA.
Are you worried at all that this team hasn't faced adversity? I'm sure that there've been
in
like
terms
little
of like a
moments.
big injury or
It's just anything that has. There's been nothing like we've done the show. Countless number of shows where it's all positive. Like they win every game. I mean, like
they got crushed in that game by Oklahoma City and they bounced back after that. But
it's one regular season.
There's not.
game.
But listen,
The worst stretch of basketball was 3
think
losses in 5 games.
I think there's going to be a part of me that is nervous about the playoffs because of how bad they've played in the playoffs.
It's hiding right here in the back of my brain. I don't think about it, but it's
can't
right
go
there.
away. No matter, even if they win 70, I'm still going to have that little fear.
Donovan says it too. And when the best player says, hey, we still have to do it in the playoffs,
Right.
he's right. And I think it's fair if you do have a little skepticism.
Yeah.
Just because we haven't seen it. And you can say it about every team. You can say the same thing about the Thunder. Like, the Thunder are not exempt from that situation.
No.
The Cavs are
But
in
who
the same
cares
situation.
about that? Like,
Well, I'm just saying.
you don't have to
all
appease
teams.
the fans who are uptight about when people say this.
I'm not trying to appease them. I'm just saying that's a natural
Of course,
progression
you have the same
of teams.
feeling about Oklahoma City. They
But
haven't
it's
proven
the
anything
natural
either.
progression of teams as they ascend to the level that we
Right.
think the Cavs can not only reach this year, but sustain for the next couple seasons with Darius and Donovan and Evan and Jarrett all under contract. through 2027, 28.
Yeah. I mean, Boston's the team that doesn't have anything to prove. So they're going to get the complete benefit of the doubt in the playoffs, which is why they're favored, which is why they should be favored.
Yep.
All right, Anthony, you got a read or no?
Yeah, real quick, before we move back to football, guys, I want to remind everybody that we are doing our comedy show here on March 28th at 9:30 p.m. at Pickwick and Frolic. All of us, Dustin, you're not sure if you're going to be there yet, but all three of us here, Bull, Mike, and me, are going to be up
I'm looking
stage.
like I'm probably gonna be there.
You're going to be up on stage?
Do I got to tell you now?
That's fair. I put you on the spot. But Director Steve here is looking to do some stuff up on stage, too. It's going to be a good time. It's for charity. I will post the link for the tickets here right after I'm done with the read.
Okay.
All right, folks. The question here is Brandon Aiyuk. There's been rumblings about him getting traded. The 49ers have moved on from a ton of players. Do you expect so Brandon Aiyuk to the Browns rumors are starting up again. Who's starting up these rumors? Who is Eric Urbanowitz?
No, it was from Jared Mueller, who works for the OBR.
Oh, okay. So I don't know where this time suggesting that Greg Newsome in a third-round pick could be the compensation. Ayuk's coming off a serious injury.
Towards ACL.
ACL.
He signed a 4-year, $120 million extension.
I don't think there's anything to this. I don't. He's got a massive contract. I don't think he's worth that massive contract. I actually would not trade for Brandon Aiyuk.
I'm out on Brandon Aiyuk, too.
Yeah.
Do I have this wrong? He seems like not the best locker room guy.
I don't know about that.
I don't know that for a fact.
He was in Shanahan's doghouse at some point and then got out of it. I'm not quite sure what led him to getting in the doghouse.
Yeah, I'm not saying he's a bad guy or whatever. I knew there was something behind the scenes that would worry me a little bit, but in the injury.
They did try to trade for him last year.
Yeah.
I mean, and it seems like, if I
And
remember
he's younger. He's just.
Was he 27?
Yeah.
Yeah. In fact, his 27th birthday's in 5 days.
But he came off, he held out. He had the slow start to last season. He was incredible in 23. Like All-Pro. Did he make the All-Pro team, right, if I remember correctly? He was really, really good in 23.
No, he was not an All-Pro.
Not an
That's
All-Pro.
his only great season. He had a good year in 22. 2 years before that, he was kind of just a guy. Last year, he was not having a good season, and then he got hurt. Again, I guess at 27, I could talk myself into it if I had to. I don't like him coming off the injury.
That's what
the
scares
Browns, if you're going to spend a lot of money on two receivers, one of them better be a sure thing superstar. You know, and Judy's good but not great, and that's how I feel about Aiyuk. Like, to me, Aiyuk is on the Jerry Jeudy level, right?
I was going to say the same thing. They're both kind of in the same category.
Yeah, I don't want to spend big money on two guys like that.
And Judy's contract, if you put him in the same tier, Judy's making $17 million a year.
Right.
Great value.
Yeah.
Ayuk's making $30 million a year.
Right.
Coming off injury, not the same level of value, even if you may think he's a little better. They're in the same tier of
I think Ayuk's a little
rankings,
better when he's healthy, but not much. I think they're kind of the same tier.
If they're going to draft a quarterback at 2, I'm all for the Browns finding an avenue to get another proven receiver, not a rookie, but bringing someone in. But I don't think, and if that compensation, who knows if it's Newsome in a third, who knows what they're really asking for. I don't
believe that at all.
I don't think Ayuk's the right guy to bring in, especially as a guy who we saw get mad when he didn't get the ball enough in San Francisco.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't want that around the rookie quarterback who's still trying to learn the NFL game. I want as many just.
That's a move a team that's trying to win now.
It just doesn't feel like it doesn't feel like the right fit for the Browns in their timeline.
Yeah. That's
and he's a guy that needs numbers now to prove his back
contract.
and healthy. So I don't know. I don't need guys who are again, I don't know him personally, but I need to have somebody who is not going to be caring about his stats.
Yeah,
so to speak.
He probably is not going to want to play here either, so that's going to add another level.
He turned down coming here last year.
Yeah.
Right.
If my memory's correct, they had agreed to a deal.
That'd be another level of discontentment that I don't know that you want to deal with.
If he didn't want to be here last year when we thought the Browns could be competitive,
yeah,
I don't know why he'd want to come here now.
No, I don't think he has a no-trade clause, so if the Browns trade... I just don't see the Browns making a deal like that. Go ahead.
Did you guys talk about Judy's comments on Kay Adams' show?
That the Browns need a new quarterback?
He's just talking about, basically every quarterback out there he wants.
Right.
Yes. He made it very clear that they need
Yeah.
anyone but Deshaun Watson, was
Yes.
what he made clear,
Yeah. Not surprising, but also kind of a,
Shot.
kind kind of a shot, and like
Yeah.
Watson's still on the team.
I mean, why he's hurt. I don't know if he could play this year anyway. But the team, including all its players,
They've moved on.
have moved on.
Oh yeah,
completely.
like basically, if you ask Jerry Jeudy, Watson's not on the Browns.
Yes.
in his mind.
Right, and that's part of the reason I said the other day why they traded DTR as part of the deal for Kenny Pickett is I think they want all the quarterbacks that were here gone. They want a fresh room with all new guys. That Deshaun Watson will never be a part
And they
of.
thought Kenny Pickett's a good idea.
Well, I mean, I don't think he's any good, but Aditi loves him, so maybe she's right. She's in the minority on that one.
She's
but-
known. I mean, she's a Pittsburgh girl, and she
Yeah,
lives
well,
there,
she's-
and
I
she's
mean,
known him since college.
Yeah, she thinks he could be this year's Sam Darnold.
Really?
Okay.
I don't. But
Told her
I hope she's right.
Yeah, it'd be
I
great
really
if she's
do.
right.
Yeah, I would. Love
I have no
that.
problem with him competing to start. I think there should always be competition. That's never bad. The fact that Deshaun Watson didn't really want competition, by all accounts,
It's
tells
bad.
you
Yeah.
where he was at. Go ahead.
I can hear G. Bush yelling at us right now
About Brandon Aiyuk?
Euclid. Yeah, saying
Yeah.
Operation Stockpile. How do you guys not want a receiver like that? G, I'm going to talk to you directly because I know you're in the chat somewhere. It's not that they don't need receivers. They just could do better than Brandon Aiyuk in terms of that kind of player coming into the Browns right now. So I hear you. They don't have Elijah Moore.
I don't know that right now they could acquire a better player, but look at what the Seahawks gave up for DK Metcalf. If the Browns were going to make this kind of a trade, the Seahawks gave up what, a second round? Got a second round pick?
They got a second-round pick, and then Pittsburgh paid him.
Right. Like, if you're the Browns, wouldn't you have just traded a
second-round pick for DK.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, I would trade a second-round pick for DK before I'm trading a third-round pick for Brandon Aiyuk.
You sure?
Aiyuk got paid off of 1 year.
I take.
And Ayuk's coming off a big injury.
Yeah, I take DK.
Yeah, I would have signed. And the Browns are not afraid to sign people. I know the cap, but you could always find a way.
I mean, and the
So-
contract, they both got $30 million per year.
Right,
So
exactly.
it's almost the exact same
So,
contract. Yeah.
If they were going to make that type of trade, it would have made
yeah.
more sense to go after DK. Not the guy coming off injury. That just doesn't make any sense.
100% agree.
So I don't see, to the bigger question of, is Andrew Berry going to make some sort of blockbuster move here? I don't see it. The only blockbuster move I can see him doing is a draft trade.
Yeah.
Trading up to 1 or maybe trading down out of 2. I don't think so. Well, I shouldn't say I don't think so. I don't really want them to do that, but I could see that. That's the only. I don't think they're going to make a blockbuster player for player type of trade. Do you guys?
Are they in a position to be that risky right now? I don't think they are. I mean,
In terms of what?
in terms of like making a blockbuster trade right now,
Like for players?
For a player.
Just player play.
Yeah.
if they think they're that close, then I could see.
But I
Andrew
don't.
Berry.
But again,
yeah.
I was off yesterday.
Yeah.
Have any of the moves the Browns made so far give you any indication of what they're trying to be or what they're trying to do? Because I don't.
No.
I talked to Zach this morning. I'm like, dude, what do you think they're? Are they delusional? Do they think they're going to be good? Do they think they're going to win 10 games, or are they just trying to save face here? Like I don't know what this team is, because they were a 3-win team last year, and right now the roster looks worse. And you have no money to spend.
They can create money if they want, but
You create some money, but who's worth spending on? Most of the guys
you want to spend it on.
First of
they're
all,
gone.
I think a lot of the top free agents this year, because the cap went up and there wasn't great free agents, got way overpaid.
I agree.
Some of these offensive linemen are like average players. They got crazy money.
There's a lot of guys that I'd not really heard much about or
Yeah.
even heard of.
Yeah.
That were getting like guaranteed $25 million
I
guaranteed.
know.
I'm like, where is this money coming from?
It's crazy. So there's nobody. The Browns are not paying any big money to anybody that's in free agency. They're not going to make the trades they've made are for depth pieces. That's what they've done to add some veteran presence to the depth of the roster, which is fine. And you want some veteran guys around to work with young players, but they need to be. It's got to be all about the draft this year. And since Andrew Berry and Kevin Stefanski have been here, it's not really been the case that they've been all about the draft. It's been trades and free agency, and that's fine to some degree. But to build this team back up and to start getting young talent, they've got to hit in the draft, and they haven't. And they don't. That's why they have almost no young talent on this team.
Becker just sent us a long text.
Yes.
I'll read it.
Go
but
ahead.
it's just the remaining free agents.
Yeah.
He wants to see if we have any interest in these guys. Stephon Diggs.
No, I don't. Do you, Dustin?
Do I have interest in him? I mean, I have interest in great players, yeah.
But he's another player.
it doesn't make
he's
sense.
always mad. He's never happy. And he played He was playing in Minnesota, putting up huge numbers. He wanted out of there.
Him and
Then he went to
Stefanski-
Buffalo,
him and
playing with
Stefanski, no.
one of the
Josh
best
Allen.
quarterbacks in the league, and he's unhappy there. Then he goes to Houston, and he's playing with C.J. Stroud. Guy's never happy. I don't want anything to do with him. Done.
He'd be miserable the second he got off the plane.
So off on him. Keenan Allen.
No, come on, he's old.
He's old.
Yeah. I
Brandon-
guess the rest of those wide receivers are useless.
Amari Cooper, Brandon Cooks, Tyler Lockett. Any of those?
Mari
Come on.
didn't want to be here last year.
No, he's shot. Those other guys are shot.
Von Miller.
Von Miller. What am I doing with Von Miller?
Buffalo
at this
just
point?
cut him.
Matthew Judon.
How about the Bills, by the way, signing Joey Bosa
Bosa.
last night?
I saw that.
It's a good fit.
Oh yeah.
That's a good fit. He'll have success there.
Zadarius Smith, bring him back.
No interest.
DeMarcus Lawrence.
I like him, but he's past his prime, isn't he? How old is DeMarcus Lawrence?
I feel like this list is from 5 years ago.
It's not exciting.
Jed Wills. I haven't seen any reports on Jed Wills getting.
What
We've seen a lot of random
what is
tackles
Steve
get a lot
doing
of
here?
money.
Why is he putting Jed Wills on the list? I don't want any of those guys. I don't want anybody on this list. The only guy I have that I like is Evan Ingram, but the Browns don't really need. You know what? I'd sign Evan Ingram. The Browns should go back to Kevin Stefanski, 2 tight ends.
12 personnel.
Evan Ingram's a good pass catcher. I know he's a little old now at this point, but it's tight end. You could still be good. He's
He was
injury
productive
prone
last year, yeah.
but
he's
he's been a very productive tight end playing with mostly bad quarterbacks. Not that he's going to have a good quarterback here, but if you're looking to get back to that Kevin Stefanski, 4 tight ends on the roster, 2 tight ends, sometimes 3 tight ends on the field, go get Evan Ingram. That's the guy on that list that I would go. Because what's he going to cost? $5 million?
$5 million.
$6 million maybe? I mean, the Jags just cut him.
Of all these guys, I actually think
Yeah.
I could talk myself into Keenan Allen. I know he's older, but it's a security blanket for a young quarterback. He's always hurt, but I feel like he could at least be
He
be
was
a
kinda-
good-
What did he do?
Never heard a bad word about the guy. He's
No, great
big,
teammate.
He's a big
Yeah.
bodied guy. Yeah, I could be talking to him for a very
See,
relatively low
1 year, $5
cost.
million, something like
Sure,
that. Yeah,
$2 million.
I can
What
talk
did he do
myself into
last
Keenan
year?
Allen.
What is he, like 35?
He's older. He was with Chicago with Caleb Williams last year.
No, he's not 35, but he's about to
33?
turn 33.
33.
That's old for a receiver. I mean, but you know what? Last year, for a number 2, number 3 guy, he still played 15 games, had 70 catches, 744 yards, and 7 touchdowns. That's pretty good for a 32-year-old on a bad team.
And the key there is the 70 catches, the 70 tutties,
Yeah.
because that's what we would need is a guy who can be a possession receiver and a red
Yeah.
zone target.
Third downs too.
Yes, third
The guy-
downs,
Yeah,
yeah.
I could talk myself into Keenan Allen.
66 touchdowns in 12 years.
Hall of Famer?
I don't think he's a Hall of Famer.
No.
He's like the Hall
He's
of
the Hall
very
of good. Yeah,
Hall of very good.
I agree with that. But I can talk myself into Keenan Allen there.
He's had 6,000-yard seasons. Only one. What's funny is in 2023, his last year with the Chargers, that was one of his best years statistically.
He was
wise.
awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, 1,243 yards was the second best of his career. He's had 14 touchdowns in his last 28 games. It's a lot.
sign me
All
up.
right, I could deal with Keenan Allen. You know, a trio of Judy, Keenan Allen, Cedric Tillman. That's some potential.
I always, what I go to now almost always is I go to Sterling Sharp, who's now getting in the Hall of Fame, which is deserving.
Yes.
So, but he only played like 7 years,
Right. But he played at elite level the whole time.
Do you know how many touchdowns Sterling Sharp had in 1994, his last year?
Wasn't it like 18?
18.
Yeah.
Jeez Louise.
He was crazy good.
18 touchdowns.
When he was, to be in the Hall of Fame based on like 5-6 years, you played.
Yeah, Terrell Davis.
Terrell Davis. He had 5 years, but he was the
best,
greatest for 5 years. You guy was unbelievable.
I mean, Gronk would have gone in without the Buccaneers run.
Yeah.
But then what did he play? 9 years or something?
Gronk
like
was
that?
drafted in 13, I think. I was in college when he got drafted.
Yeah. Not many guys make it in. Terrell Davis played like 5 really good years.
He's the one I always think about, the short career, but the incredible.
You want me to tell? I know you guys might find this a little boring, but I'm going to throw it in there anyway for 2 seconds.
It's about your fantasy team, Killers Mike.
No, it's not about my fantasy team. You see this in football where guys get in the Hall of Fame based on not that many years. It happens sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
It almost never happens in baseball. But Sandy Koufax is a guy who played 12 years in Major League Baseball, but he really so early in his career he was just good but not special. And then he was so good his last 5 years that he got in the Hall of Fame based on those 5 years. and he retired young. He was 30 years old when he retired.
He played 12 years and retired at 30.
Retired at 30 because he was a rookie at 19, and he struggled early in his career. And I think he had some injuries, but he retired at 30 because he had injuries. But his last 5 years in the league, let me just give you this crazy number. He pitched in those last 5 years, the last 4 years, he pitched over 1,000 innings in 4 years.
Jeez.
Had over 1,000 strikeouts. The numbers on him, he had over 1,000 strikeouts. Anyway, it doesn't really matter. But you rarely see that in baseball. I know he played for 12 years, but he had like 5 years where he was amazing. But to be at that level where you really only play like a Hall of Famer for 5 years, those 5 years have to be
incredible.
Another world. All right, Anthony, what do we got for super chats?
We got some super chats to wrap up today. Our first one comes from Salesh Shastri. I think I'm pronouncing that right.
Try saying that 3 times fast.
Yeah, no, thank you. Another morning, another Cavs win, and another UCSS show. More power to you guys, brightening up the lives. Bull, your energy in the bullpen show is infectious, and Mikey, our basketball guru, don't stop.
Thank you, thank you. By the way,
I'm just here.
By the way,
sorry, Dustin.
By the way, as you know, as Dustin knows, because we do the show once a week in the bullpen, we there's no limits on cursing on that. Like I curse all the time. I drop F-bombs and blah blah blah. But there's there's only 2 curses I really won't say, even on the podcast.
Don't say it here.
I won't say it here. But I was doing the podcast, it wasn't live, and I called Ian Rappaport one of those 2 names. And when the podcast was over, I said, guys, cut that out. Because
don't repost that?
I'll just say what I called him.
What's it start with?
CS.
Oh, Jive Turkey.
Yeah.
You
remember,
yes.
You remember the movie?
Yes. He
didn't call you a Jive Turkey. He called you a CS.
Yeah, right. I was like, yeah, that's the one. That and the C word.
See you next Tuesday?
Yes.
Yeah. Those are the 2. Those are the only 2 I don't use. But anyway, go ahead.
All right, these next 2 are related. DB Dog 21 says Kirk had a shoulder injury for half of last season, and then Kevin Robinson came in and said Cousins' TD to int before the injury was 17-7.
Yeah, I guess he maybe had a shoulder injury.
Yeah,
but I said if I'm
37
wrong,
years old, coming off Achilles and shoulder injuries, no athletic ability to speak of. I don't know.
I mean, Thor said he thought he could play. I mean, he's watched him more closely than we have lately. Not saying he's right or wrong. But,
yeah.
I don't know. The one thing I will say about Kirk Cousins is he would be great for the locker room. You know, there's no doubt that
Dudes love him.
he would be
really,
a really good locker room guy.
That's all that matters, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it kind of does matter, especially because we're not going to win much this year. So I wouldn't, if they do sign him, I'd be like, all right, at least maybe he can help. He's unlike a lot of what we've had in the past.
That's true.
You know what I mean?
Although,
do we know what the shoulder? Sorry, what is the shoulder surge injury that he had?
I don't know. I have no idea.
Because I guess in hearing that, I'm like, oh yeah, maybe I did hear about that, but it was never a big story.
And Charles Davis made the point of like, you know, he signed with Atlanta, and then they pushed him out for a rookie. Would the Browns do the same? But at this point, Cousins has got to realize nobody's looking at him as a long-term option. He's a one-year guy the rest of the way. I don't think there's any doubt about it. Go ahead, Anthony.
All right, from last one, Joey Sampson wants to know, do you guys think if the Cavs are putting together a season documentary in the event that they make a finals run and win, just like the Celtics did?
Are they currently? I don't think so.
What do you mean, are they?
Like making a season documentary so they can watch it back after they win the championship.
I mean, Bill Simmons made that Celtics one.
Yes.
I put it on for a second. I watched the first 30 seconds, and I'm like, I don't really give a crap. Why am I watching this? I don't care about the Celtics last year. It was uninteresting to me, so I didn't watch it.
Brooks, I just searched.
Would the Cavs do it? I guess they could. You know,
they don't have cameras following them around right now. That's the question.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I just searched the Kirk Cousins injury.
Yeah.
So according to Google, he said during Super Bowl week that he experienced a right shoulder and elbow injury week 10 against the Saints, which is where that decline definitely started.
Right.
He said it on Good Morning Football on February 4th, which was Super Bowl week. The Falcons say they were never informed. Head coach Raheem Morris and general manager Terry Fontenot were largely surprised by this comment, suggesting the team was unaware of the extent of the injury.
Well, I mean, it looks bad for Cousins who didn't tell anybody, and then at the end of the year he's saying, well, that's why it sucked.
It's
pretty convenient
for
that to be the case. So I don't know. I guess we'll find out when and if he plays next year. Yeah. Anthony, any more?
No, that was our last one, and we're going to be heading to overtime here in about a minute, and we're going to be talking about some hazing. And maybe
Yeah, I'm
some
not a fan of
popcorn that
hazing,
ended
but
up
we'll
in a
see.
car.
Oh, yeah, that's cool. Well, if Bo doesn't like it, I thought it was cool.
Popcorn in the car.
I would
could
not
live
think
with.
it's cool.
I could live with. But
I would think it's
with
cool.
Bo
if
on
it-
this one.
I would not think
I
it's cool
don't
if it
like
happened to
hazing.
me.
I'm not a fan. All right. Thanks, everybody, for joining us today. If you're not a member, make sure you sign up. Simple $5.99 a month gives you the exclusive content that'll be coming up in about 2 minutes. We'll see you then for the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show.
Peace.